Session 15, Kingdom of Mysticka. I'm calling this one titled Mourning, to celebrate the life of Ghoul, who's no longer with us, from me being stupid and not using his racial ability, which would have changed everything. So where we left off was you guys basically ransacked the place, and you guys realized the time, and you guys realized you had to just hurry on back as fast as you could to make it back before that cellar door got locked shut. And fortunately, we made it back. Woo. So, as we climbed down the ladder, you guys are feeling pretty exhausted and pretty beat up. Maybe still have a slight migraine headache from the encounter with that strange creature that knocked most of the party out cold. So you guys get down to the bottom floor here. There's the guards, and you can tell they're looking further up the ladder, and they're expecting the ugly orc to walk down the stairs, or not the stairs, but the ladder. And it doesn't happen. And they don't say anything, but you can tell from the looks on their faces that they just kind of just go all stiff, and they just eye each other, and they just have these solemn looks on their face like, oh no. And they open up the door for us without saying a word, and we shuffle on through. Where do you guys want to go now?
Well, we didn't come back with anything useful, so I have no clue.
Yeah, we did. We came back with that moss that you wanted for your damn girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, the moss. Okay, so I'm going to Tannis.
Well, and you remember the 2 small bags of the fiber weed?
Yep.
As we're calling it. So you got that as well.
Right.
So the time of day, it's around 7. It's dinner time. Dinner's still going on. Shops are probably closing up about now, with the exception of the library. I don't know if you guys are hungry or...
I'm not. I'm going to my room.
Okay.
Who was carrying the metal vials? Was that you, Erlon?
Yep.
How many did you get?
I have 2.
All right.
Yeah,
so
they're both full of that yellow moss, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Theron's gonna ask you for those, and he's wanting to go give them to Tannis and get the payment.
All right. I hand them over.
Right on.
Okay. Deadeyes? What is Deadeyes going to do at this point?
I'm going with Erlon back to the room.
Okay.
Not so much like anything else right now.
Okay. Okay, it's Theron. So the captain doesn't really say a word to you guys. He just kind of hangs his head, and he goes down the eatery hall right there as he seems to make his way towards the kitchens. And pretty much like the whole way back, as you guys were hurrying along trying to get back, there wasn't really a whole lot of conversation going. Like, there's still like this feeling of ultra reality. Like, did Ghoul really just die? Like, he's gone. Not only is he dead, but he's a part of the shadow world now, right? These shadow creatures that come out at night.
Yeah.
Which probably, is salt to the wound. So Erlon and Deadeyes, you head back to the rooms. Erlon, you had one of the keys. Theron, I believe you have the other key to the room. But, okay, you guys separate and go your separate ways. So you lose sight of the captain. Theron, where do you want to go first to try to find Tana?
Yeah, so I guess I'll go check the... Actually, what time of day is it when we got back? It's towards the evening, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really close. It's like 6:30 or so.
Okay, so she's definitely probably not above ground. So he's going to go check the gardening room. Is that what it was in the kitchen area? The garden. We'll go check there.
Okay, so
Yep.
You're trailing a little bit behind the captain, and you see the captain, he's ahead of you. And as you enter the meeting hall or the kitchen area, you see the captain meet the gaze of Beatrice. And Beatrice is there helping to serve people with their food. And she looks up and smiles at him. And you can't tell, but from the look that the captain must be giving Beatrice, her smile fades away and morphs into a look of concern. And you see just the Captain Balazar just hanging his head down, just shaking it, just back and forth like this.
There you go, Balazar. Go confess your feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
right.
he goes up there and starts talking. You're looking around for Tana. Yeah, you actually do see her. She is over at a table up over here. There's a table right there, and she has some sort of like leafy greens on this table, and she's sitting there using one of these razor leg segments, and she's sitting there just chopping them. Chop, 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 chop. And she doesn't even notice you.
All right. Well, Erlon's going to go over there, and he's just going to take the 2 metal flasks and set it right beside her.
Okay, first, I want you to roll a perception check.
Okay, give me a second. Let me look at my perception. All right, let's do this. Come on, money. How's that?
Excellent. Yeah,
Sweet.
that's very good. You notice as you're walking behind the captain, and you're walking along, and you finally notice where Tana is. There's lots of rows of tables and furniture here in the meeting hall or the eatery, and there's a lot of people there conversing and they're eating food. What you notice, though, something is amiss. The energy of this room is different. The whole room seems to be abuzz, talking about something. And you didn't pay much attention to it at first, but you just rolled a 17. So, Theron, you kind of let your ears perk up a bit, and you're hearing some conversation. And you hear people saying, I know, isn't that just horrible? It's such a tragedy. And I don't know, you might be thinking, how'd they find out about Ghoul, right?
Yeah, just
because that was
here.
A pretty big tragedy. And then you hear someone say, yeah, they're at the holding cells right now. Like, that is just so horrible. And then you're thinking, I don't think they're talking about Ghoul. Like, you get the sense that something happened while you guys were away.
Oh.
And you can't tell what it is, but definitely people are abuzz and they're talking about something. The talk of the town, so to speak. But you can't quite make out what it is. But it definitely does not seem related to Ghoul.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so at this point, you approach Tana.
Yeah.
She looks up at you, and she's like, oh, can I help you, sir? And then her voice cuts off as she realizes it's you. And she says, oh, Theron, you made it back. We were all getting so worried.
Damn right, lady. All right. Theron says, yes, I have also retrieved the moss that you specifically requested, and he puts the 2 vials right in front of her.
Okay, and there's a 2 resounding clink, clink as these metal vials just land on this wooden table. And she eyes it, and her mouth drops open. She's, so soon. How did you find it? And she stops immediately what she's doing, and she grabs both of the vials, these metal vials, and she uncorks one of them, and she's just peering inside, and she puts a finger in one of the vials and pulls out just a little tiny bit, and she's eyeing it on her finger, and she just has this biggest smile. And then she says, how much was it that I agreed I would pay you?
Oh, God. I think it was. Let me look real quick.
It was
I'm
a gold.
pretty sure it was
It
a gold.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. A gold per vial.
She quickly reaches down into a pouch, and she fishes out 2 gold coins and puts them right there. And, of course, both of these coins have this stamp of Shadow's Hold right on it.
Cool. So he takes it and he says, I hope this moss is worth it. A good man died trying to get it.
And she says, a good man died? Who died, Theron? What happened?
He says, a half-orc in our party is no longer going to be with us.
I don't know what her reaction would be, actually. Let's find out.
Oh, does she hate the half-orc too? Oh, man.
I don't know.
Oh, boy.
She puts a hand on your shoulder and she says, I'm sorry, Theron. I know he must have been a good friend to you. She says, I'm sorry for your loss. And she says, just needless death, this cursed place. And she just shakes her head. And there's like this little moment of silence, where it's a little bit awkward, where neither of you are saying anything. And then she goes back and she puts these 2 metal vials in her pouch. And she says, I'm sorry, we're so busy now with all that's happened today, and we're running a little bit behind, and all these people need to be fed. And you look, and sure enough, there's actually a long line of people.
All right. Theron says,
for some reason, the kitchens got open a bit late today, so there's
Theron
a big
says,
line.
wait.
She's chopping frantically.
Says, wait, before you go, can you explain what this talk of this holding cell that I've been hearing about, what's been going on around there?
And she says, oh, well, of course you don't. Of course you don't know. You've been gone. And she says a couple of survivors from a shipwreck apparently have made it back to Shadow's Hold. But these people, it's just so tragic. She says they had a small boat and they steered it right into the harbor.
Oh crap.
Yeah, and then she looks at the sudden realization come over Theron's face as he's like, oh!
Yeah.
And,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Theron says...
She says it's just so tragic. And she says one of them was brought in just unconscious. Agatha put them in a place up in the holding cells until she can figure out what to do next.
And all right, Theron says, thank you for the information, Tana. Greatly appreciate it. And he's going to be getting to walk towards his room, I guess.
Well,
that's
then
where
she
everyone
says,
else...
Are you hungry, Theron?
Theron takes a moment, and he's like, yes, actually, I am. And he is going to get some food, but he's going to get it to go. Then a Mickey D package. Heck yeah.
Okay.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, so right off of silver.
Okay. Crap, that would have to be out of my own pocket.
Yep.
I'm guessing. Yeah, that's fine.
But also remember the 2 gold that she gave you.
Yeah, I know. I
Okay.
have it. I'm just not marking it down because I'm waiting. I'm going to give it to her. Oh, wait. No, Ghoul was the root bank, wasn't he?
Erlon's too weak to be holding too much, so...
Crap, all right.
Yeah, you and the rest of the party are probably going to have to figure that part out. But
yeah, all right. I'll add it.
You probably also remember there was that whole bag full of stuff that you guys got from that cave.
Crap.
Yep, I've got it. I don't. I'm not carrying it.
You knew portable
Theron
banks were
gets
so
his food.
expensive.
Theron gets his food, and then we're going to stop right there with you, Theron. Deadeyes and Erlon. You guys make it back to the main hall and get to the last room. Erlon, you fish out your... Now this makes me sad, but...
Oh.
I'm
Taking Ghoul off.
going to be sad to not see that token anymore.
I know. That was such a cool token.
All right, Erlon, you fish out the key out of your pocket or your pouch or wherever you keep it. You put it in the lock. Click, click. Door swings open, and Deadeyes is right there behind you. Zizix, you have dismissed at this point, right? Deadeyes?
Yep.
Yeah. So you guys walk in and you close the door, and it's just this awkward silence, and you light a lamp to bring some light into the room. There's a little desk there, and the light illuminates the whole room. And I don't know, maybe you take off some of your gear, kind of relax a little bit.
As I take off my pack and stuff, I turn to Dead Eyes and I say, "Fill that jug up with strong ale."
Oh, it's already full. I'm keeping it up there.
Yeah.
I think it's a good night to empty that thing a few times.
Yep. And just a couple minutes after you guys get situated in the room and start taking a few swigs of this ale from this alchemy jug that you just got, which tastes fabulous, by the way, there's a knock on your door.
All right. I'll go get it. Go answer the door.
Okay.
Housekeeping.
1 second. Okay, you open up the door, and you see Captain Thomon there with a very serious expression, a look of worry on his face, and he's breathing a little bit hard, like he definitely did not take a casual stroll down here. And as he sees you open up the door, Erlon, he's like, "Good. It's true, you're back." And he says, "Lady Agatha has requested your services, if you will, good Sir Erlon, in the holding cells."
Oh.
I don't know, maybe you might be thinking that something happened to Yana. I mean, who knows? But
No. He goes, "What's needed? Did Yana try and kill herself?"
it's also at this point that you notice that he has blood, like fresh blood, on his chest.
All right.
And
Did you
he
hear what I
shakes
said?
his head and he says, "No, has nothing to do with Yana. Yana's fine."
Good. She can rot for all I care.
Say that?
Yeah.
And he just
He said, "Well, let's go then. It's like somebody's losing quite a bit of blood."
and he nods and he just immediately starts off at a fast pace, and you keep up behind him. So, guys,
So I do have some healing left, luckily.
Nice.
that's good. Okay, I'm not going to put down tokens here. I'm just going to explain what's going on.
Okay.
So, although I guess I will include this one. Okay, Captain Thomon leads you into the holding cells, and as you walk in, you see Lady Agatha there, kneeling down over, looks to be some woman just laying there with this dark brown, almost blackish hair, just laying down. And you see a guy that you've never seen before, wearing this chain shirt, and he's crouching down on one knee as well, and he has a hand on the head of this girl, and they look very, very concerned. And one thing you notice is down her legs, you see, it's actually quite gruesome, but you see these big, massive, long claw marks all down her legs. And you see a similar set of claw marks on the man on his arm, just below the shoulder. But he seems to be unconcerned about it, even though you can readily see dried blood, like it had been dripping off his elbow and running down his arm all over, but he seems to be unconcerned about that.
Okay.
But this girl seems to be unconscious. And Lady Agatha looks up at you as you enter this room, and the captain's kind of huffing and puffing a bit, breathing heavy. And Lady Agatha says, "Oh, Erlon, you're back."
He said, "What happened? Who are these people?"
and she says, "Oh, it's horrible, but there will be plenty of time for questions later. Can you do something to help this girl?" And you take a closer look at her, and she seems like, actually, I don't know, how old is Erlon? He's like a bit older, right?
No, he's like 18. I don't know, 17, 18.
Oh, so okay. Well, she appears to be about 20 years old, and she looks, if it wasn't for a spot of bloodied, matted hair, like on the side of her face right here,
Yeah.
she looks very pretty to you.
All right.
Guess so. Heck yeah.
And down the hall, you then hear Yana crying out, "What's going on? Will someone tell me what's going on?" And then Captain Thomon yells out, "Shut up, Yana. Now's not the time."
All right. Well, let me do a medicine on her and check her out.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and do medicine.
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, she seems to be stable.
Okay.
And as you know, with a person stable, they'll probably come out of it in 1 to 4 hours.
Yeah, I just experienced this.
Yeah. So it appears that she's been unconscious probably for, I don't know, you roll me another medicine check to analyze the wounds.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, you're pretty sure that from the look of these wounds that whatever attacked her had very sharp, long claws and was extremely strong for it to just be able to rip the flesh and her clothes like it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, wow, like spiders do not do this. It's definitely some sort of monster.
So as I'm expecting the wounds and I see that, I turn to that guy and I say, "What did this to her?"
And he says, I don't know. I think they were trolls, but they were in the harbor.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, he goes, we knew those creatures were there. We stayed away from He goes, "Okay, well, give me a minute and I'll apply some healing to her."
Okay.
And so he sings out a spell. And I'm going to do a second level Cure Wounds. Oh, that's pretty crummy.
8.
Yeah. And then I'll sing the spell again. And I'll do just a regular Cure Wounds.
Okay.
Cooked. What do you know? Right on.
Okay.
I have one last spell. Does she look like she still needs more healing?
Well, I guess that is the thing. Now, this girl, I only rolled hit point. Well, I didn't roll, but for level 1 hit points, you start at max, and so I need to roll hit points in front of you guys.
Oh, okay.
So now that it's come up, I will go ahead and do that now.
Cool.
So I think, I'm going to roll.
Well, I'm assuming you have more than 19 hit points.
Yeah, well,
Hopefully.
the way I've been rolling, I don't know.
All right, let's see these bad boys.
Yeah,
Hopefully you roll good,
second.
man.
I'm going to bring this up.
What is that, a 48? No, double die, so I see, yeah.
Okay, so there's a +1. So,
Okay,
so here we go.
right on.
2d8. D +1, +1. So this is for level 2. So she starts with 9.
Ooh, nice.
Oh, right on.
So that gives her 17. Okay. Here's the level 3 hit points.
Okay.
Okay, 6.
23.
And finally, level 4. Oh, yeah. Beautiful.
Jeez.
32. Nice.
I like it.
Found our new tank. No, I'm just messing with
All right, and you healed a total of 19.
Yep.
So now this is accurate. What you see there on the bar. That's her condition that you see.
Now, the other guy's condition, is he hurt pretty bad? Or that wound looked kind of minor for him?
Well, change the layer here. Okay.
Ooh. Okay.
Oh.
So,
Does she wake up at all after a healer?
yeah, her eyes flutter open, and she just moans. And this man reaches down and says, "Don't move, don't move. Just this nice man here, new healing magic, healing song, and you've been through a lot. Just try to get some rest." And she just lets out a moan.
So, obviously, is Lady Agatha, is she going to bind her wounds then? Or should I?
She already has bandages around her and stuff that are completely soaked with blood. It was hastily done, of course, but it was just enough to get her stable. But your healing definitely, the flesh just naturally melded together, and you can still see these lines of where the scratches are.
Sure.
But the blood has already flaked away on most of the area, and I mean your healing magic worked absolutely fantastically on her.
So he says to Lady Agatha, we may want to change these wounds and rebind them. Change these bandages and rebind them. He goes,
and she nods at you and she says, yes, of course. We'll get that done right away. Captain Thoman, please go get us some more linens.
And then he turns to the guy and he says, let me see that wound on your shoulder. It was on his shoulder, right? Down his side?
Yeah. So Captain Thoman, you lose sight of, he goes down to go fetch more linens. Yeah, and he looks down and he looks at his arm. It's just a big, huge gash. In fact, it's so deep that you think it might even went to the bone.
Ooh.
But he seems completely unconcerned about it. And you look at it and you're like, geez.
He says, would you like me to heal that? Or should I apply my last healing magic to her?
He says, yes, if you would have strength left, Bard.
Guess what? Does he want me to heal him or her?
He says, heal whoever you think needs it most.
All right. He says, hold still. And he sings a little song and touches his wound.
Okay. How much healing do you got left? Is
my last spell.
Okay. Okay.
And he turns to Lady Agatha and he says, that is all the magic I have left for the day. We used the rest of it for my party. He says, I regret to inform you, Ghoul has died.
And Lady Agatha just suddenly turns at you abruptly and she says, no, please say it's not so.
I wish I could.
Grudge got him.
And she says, I am so sorry, Erlon. I know how much of a friend he was to you. And she says, how are you doing? Are you doing okay?
And he says, well, he was my best friend. I don't know what to think right now. I'm kind of in shock. He said I might go drown myself in some ale and come back in the morning and use more healing on these two.
And she says, that's quite understandable, Erlon. And this man steps forward and says, thank you very much, Erlon. My name is Andres. Andres Riffolk. Roll a history check.
All right. Sweet. Oh.
Oh,
you never heard of him. Never heard of him.
He says it's very nice to meet you. He goes, I wish we'd met in better circumstances and on a better day.
And he says, we're so lucky to have found you people. And he says, what is this place?
I don't know.
Lady Agatha says, Erlon. And she looks at you and she says, before you lose yourself at the bottom of Mug of Ale, she says, the captain is coming back and we'll tend to this girl here. Would you be so kind to perhaps show Andres around?
Sure. You're letting him just walk around?
And she says, I think it would be good for him and possibly for you to get your mind off of things if you were to be the one to show Andres around. What do you think? She says, I don't want to pressure you. Feel free to say no.
He says, no, it'll be fine.
And then you hear another yell from down the corridor. Will someone tell me what's going on? She says, you got to tell me eventually. Yeah, and Lady Agatha...
I don't say a word. I'm not.
Yeah, Lady Agatha looks at you, and she just shakes her head, and she says, please don't, not now.
He goes, don't worry, I have no desire to speak to her. Ever.
And she says, that is good.
Just wait until she finds out.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, Andres...
He says, well, come with me, Andres, and I'll show you around.
Okay. So, of course, I don't want to play out every single detail of you showing him around.
Sure.
But as you kind of avoid walking past Yana's cell, so you probably don't, they're just holding cells, nothing too special. So you probably take him out to the judging chamber and holding cells and the rest of the area. But Andres makes conversation with you.
Okay.
Along the way. So he says, Erlon, what is this place? What is this place that humans are living underground like dwarves?
He says, you obviously haven't spent the night here yet.
He says, no, sadly, we arrived late afternoon, just a few hours ago.
Well, at night is when the zombies come out and attack anything living.
And he stops short. He stops immediately and he looks at you and says, zombies that come out at night?
Yes, they come from the shadows. They say they call this place the Cursed Islands, and we shipwrecked here. Yeah. And apparently healing magic doesn't work that comes from gods. So they were shocked to find that I could cast healing magic.
And then he looks, he says, so it makes sense why they were so urgent to get Erlon's services.
Yeah, that's why they called for the bard and not a cleric. I kind of laugh.
And he says, are there any clerics here?
Not that I know of. I haven't seen one. Their magic wouldn't work here anyway, according to these people.
And he says, how long have these people been here?
Hundreds of years.
He says, and no one's figured out a way off this island?
They claim no, but I think probably somebody has. Because my goal is to get out of here. We shipwrecked here not long ago, and I'm not staying here. I've already lost a good friend to this place.
And he says, and me too. He says, Erlon, I can still hear it. I don't know how I'll ever forget it. And he puts a hand up to his head, and he says, I can still hear their bones snapping. And the screams, he says, Erlon, I can never forget those screams.
He says there was more people in your group than you?
And he says, there was 8 of us. And he
you
says,
were the only 2 that lived, huh?
He says, about a week ago, we were on a ship set for Starport. And
Starport?
He says, Starport.
That's where we were headed when we wrecked.
And he looks at you and he says, from Blueport?
Yes.
And he says, so it seems that you and I were caught in the same storm. He says, I assume that your ship did not fare well.
No, it was broken apart by, well, I don't know what it was. Some giant tentacled creature.
And his mouth gapes open. And he says, you are perhaps even more lucky than I, Erlon. And he says, our ship, we were headed to Starport, and that storm suddenly came fast. And there was an argument on the ship about whether we should head to the deep water or not. And the captain delayed going to the deep water. But as the swells became quite large, we tried to make it to avoid the coral. But there was a sudden gust of wind, and it snapped our masts, and our ship lay just crippled in the ocean, and at the mercy of the storm and the waves and the current to take it wherever it need be. We drifted for 2 days until finally the ship crashed ashore on some deserted island, a very small island. There was nothing on the island. In just a span of about an hour, you could walk from one end to the other. But on all the craggy rocks, the ship just heaved up on those and just it shattered into pieces. It took us 4 days to get provisions and to build a raft or a makeshift boat. We knew that there was not enough food on the island to sustain us for long. So there was 8 of us that survived that. And so we set sail westward, or at least what we thought was westward.
How close was this island, I asked?
He says a little over a day from here.
And no zombies attacked you at night?
And he says, no, there was nothing. Absolutely nothing. He says, but we traveled. We made some oars, and we took turns throughout the night, rowing and rowing, until just this few hours ago, well, around noon, in the distance, in the horizon, we saw a cluster of large islands. And we thought for sure that could be Mysticka, so we headed towards it. As we approached, we saw that there was a harbor with some ships in it. So, of course, many of us being hungry and thirsty for not have eaten so long, we steered the ship into the harbor, and then we noticed something quite wrong. The ships, they were not really floating on the water, but they were stranded in the water. And that is when I saw them. I saw monstrous shapes swimming through the water. And Jade, the girl that you just helped save, I pushed her off of the boat and to save her.
Oh, all right.
As he saw that there was one of the monstrosities was swimming underneath and was about to try to capsize the boat. So to try to gain the advantage of distance, he grabbed her and pushed her off of the boat, and he jumped with her. And he swam and kicked as fast as he could. And some of them clawed at them, and he tried really hard to just keep afloat and to swim towards the shore. And he was able to beat a few of them off of him. But she didn't fare as well, he said. And he says, as I swam, I could just hear the others screaming in surprise and in pain. And he says, Erlon, I could hear their deaths. People that I sailed with, people that I came to call my friend. And he says, the harbor water became red.
Erlon puts his hand on his shoulder as we're walking, and he says, I'm sorry to hear about your loss and your hardships. So that must have been truly horrifying.
He says it was, and I never want to have to go through anything like that again. And yeah. So at this, this is a conversation you're having with him as you're walking along, but you show him the workshop district. You tell him about the registry, the textiles, the metal workers, the weaponry, armory, and so on. And he continues to pry with questions like, so these people are content and happy to live this way?
They are, but I'm not.
He says, Erlon, if you find a way off this island, I want to be there when you do. And, the exact same thing that you heard Captain Balazar say to you, you hear this man saying.
He says there is one problem, though. Apparently there's a plague that comes along with this place that you, if you're not infected by, you will be soon. And he said it makes it so when you die, you become a zombie.
He looks at you and says, did your friend become a zombie?
He did. We couldn't get to him in time to either bring him back to life or cut his head off so he wouldn't become a zombie.
And when you said the words cut his head off, you saw him just cringe. Like, it was a thought he didn't really want to imagine. He says...
oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go on.
So Erlon says, we need to figure a way to cure this and then leave this place. He goes, how easy do you think you could get back to that other island? The one you sailed from?
He says it's possible, but honestly, it would be like trying to thread a needle.
So it's probably not.
He says there's a lot of ocean out there, Erlon. We thought perhaps we were going to die out there. And we rejoiced when we saw land. If only I would have known that this land was cursed, we would not have been so happy. We would have sailed on by.
Yeah. It would have been your best choice, but you had no idea what you were getting yourself into.
And he says, your accent, are you from Weaveshire?
I am.
He says, I can tell. I have spent some time in Weaveshire. He says, I spend a lot of my time around the Starport area and Blueport.
Yeah? He says, what kind of, what do you do? What have you been doing? You a soldier of some kind, I see by your armor.
And he nods and he says, yes, a soldier who has advanced to renowned specialty.
And what is that?
He says, they call me Andres Griffolk, the Goblin Slayer.
Ah.
And he says, I was on my way back to Starport after investigating some reports of some goblin attacks outside of Blueport.
Yeah, we killed a few of them on our way through to get to Blueport.
He says, did you?
They ambushed us.
He says, I sent out a patrol.
Yeah, we
avoided back, and they never found anything.
You sent out a patrol.
Aye.
You're in charge of patrols?
He says, when it has to do with goblins, I am. He says, you see, I've taken it to be my focus to know everything about goblins. He says, I hate goblins. He says, I know how they fight, I know how they sound, I know the tracks they make, and I know their traps and their fighting style.
Wow.
And he says there's further reports of goblins southeast in the mountains of Starport, which is quite disturbing to hear reports around the same time frame covering a large distance. That's what I was doing when I was on that ship. I was on my way to investigate those reports.
So is the female, is she a friend of yours then? Was she going with you to kill the
And
goblin?
he says she became a friend. I never met her before we set sail. I met her on the boat.
All right. Well, I don't, yeah.
Well,
going,
and then he says, but I know one thing. She's really good with her crossbow, and she's a good healer.
She uses magic as well?
He says, no, not magic. She only told me a little bit. She says that she studied in a temple of Mystra, our wonderful lady of magic. But she decided that was not for her, but she still took to heart her training, and she's very good at using healing kits and healing wounds. If only she could have been able to apply her expertise to her own wounds.
Well, it's a good thing she's not a priestess of Mystra, because she would not be able to use her magic here.
And he says, how could Our Lady Mystra allow such a place to exist?
Who knows why the gods do anything?
And he says, indeed. And Theron, you're sitting there
Not
eating.
my lady.
Theron, you're sitting there eating, and you notice out of this hall up here, out comes Erlon with some man that you've never seen before by his side, and they seem to be engaged in conversation. And Erlon, you look over and you can't help it. I mean, you notice Theron there. He's finishing up his food. And so you go on to explain, the kitchen, the meeting hall, and everything to Andres.
And so I'll bring Theron up and I'll introduce Theron to him.
Okay.
And he tells him that he tells Andreas that this is one of the members of his hunting party.
And he says, hunting party?
Hi, we go out and we hunt for food and resources during the day to bring back to this place, and that is when we lost our friend Ghoul.
So you're introducing Andres to Theron?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you're sitting there, Theron, and Erlon and this man comes up, and you're kind of curious. And you have been here while you're eating there, you're trying to pay attention to the discussion as well of surrounding people. And from what you could gather, there was some people who sailed into the harbor, and there was only 2 survivors. So I guess you would imagine you can still see some blood stains on this guy's arm, even though Erlon did apply some of his awesome healing to him. But you can still see some blood stains, and you can only, I guess that this man must be one of them.
Yeah, so that's Theron. Is he still sitting there?
Yeah, you're still sitting there.
Okay,
You're finishing
so
up your
he's
food.
sitting there, and he just casually looks the corner of his eye, and he says, "So I'm guessing this is one of the survivors."
Says yes, one of the 2.
Says that I am. He says, my name is Andres. Says, and Erlon said, your name is Theron?
And Theron says, "Yes, that is my name." And he's going to continue to just kind of take bites here and there as this is going on.
Yeah. And Erlon, you kind of, it's a little bit awkward, but you continue on because there's still quite a bit more to show.
Yeah.
Him. And you show him the wells, where there's water. You show him the latrines. And then finally, you get to the living quarters. And you show him Agatha's chambers, and you explain to him the nobleman's hall and the main hall. And you actually get back to the room area, and Deadeyes is inside getting sloshed. But do you do anything at this point? Do you introduce him to Deadeyes?
No, I'm not going to bring him in the room.
Okay. So you explain the main hall, and you then explain how they're adding on right here some additional living quarters. And you pretty much explained, by the time the grand tour is over, you've explained pretty much the whole society and how it works and all that. He seems interested in the whole hunting thing, and he expresses concern about being locked down here like a prisoner. And he doesn't seem too enthused or appreciative that Lady Agatha put them in a holding cell for prisoners, like as if they've done something wrong, which you can relate to because that's exactly what you guys thought.
Yeah, Erlon says that pissed me off when they did that to me as well. He says, but they do it until you agree to the rules that they have here. And if you don't agree, then you go back to the surface and stay there.
And he says, but is there another town somewhere I can go on the surface?
Not that we know of.
So they send you to die.
Yeah, you either agree to the rules or you leave.
And he says, that's not right.
Well, he says, we're making do with it as we can. He goes, I agree. I don't like the situation, but I really had no other choice.
Yeah. And, you guys come down. Yeah, you guys come down here. And Andres does express to you an interest in hunting. So he says, do you have need of any more people in your hunting party? He says, I am a soldier after all. I could be useful.
We just lost my friend who was also a soldier named Ghoul.
And he says, died. And he was a soldier as well.
He was.
And he says, what was his name?
Ghoul, was it Bloodstone? No, it's not Bloodstone.
Yep, it is Bloodstone.
Okay. Ghoul Bloodstone. Who looked like an orc.
Yeah, I'm going to have him roll.
Here. Having a soldier that looks like an orc, though, that might stand out.
Yeah. So. Oh, yeah. He says, Ghoul. I have met Ghoul once. He is well known to be in the highest respect and guard around Weaveshire, protecting the surrounding villages. And he says, he has done quite well, from what I hear. And he says, I only hope that he died gloriously in battle.
He did. We were fighting a banshee.
Well, you don't know what it was.
Yeah. Oh, I thought Mike said that's what. I'm sorry.
You guys don't know what a banshee is, and in fact, the whole lore around a banshee is. There is no way you guys would have a clue what the heck it is.
Just say we fought some freaky shit. That'll sum it up.
Yeah,
we fought some very deadly undead.
You can say we fought the Grudge, and then he'll be like, "Oh, okay."
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
That almost killed our whole party.
Yeah.
If it was not for Theron, we wouldn't be alive.
But yeah, you explain this undead creature to him, and he's just you could tell that he just kind of has the heebie-jeebies. He's just kind of creeped out a little bit by it. And he says, I just want to get back home. He says, there could be innocents being killed by goblins as we speak.
I have a mission of importance myself, but obviously it has to be postponed until we can get back.
Okay. You guys come in and you see this woman sitting there with her back up against the wall, and she's holding a mug of what seems to be some sort of liquid like a tea or something, and she's holding it with two hands and she's sipping it. And she looks up and she just gives this smile to Andres as he walks in. And she says, oh, Andres, you're okay. And she's, eyeing him over, looking him up and down. And she says, oh, you fare better than I thought you had. And Andres says, oh, it was much worse. But Erlon here, he's a bard, and he was able to heal many of our wounds, and even yours, Jade. And she says, you helped me? As you look into her green eyes, and you can't help but, you're a bard. You have a flair for noticing beautiful women. And she's 20 years old, but you definitely can't help but notice her beauty. And, yeah, she's looking right at you. She says, you healed me?
I did. And he gives a big flourish of a bow and kind of says, it was my pleasure, my lady.
And then she's looking around. She's like, where's my bag? Where's my bag? My pack. Where is it? And Lady Agatha, she couldn't see it from where she was, but Lady Agatha walks over and she says, it's fine. It's right here. And she lifts up a backpack and puts it right next to Jade. And she, she just takes it from Lady Agatha and just keeps it by her side and puts an arm around it, lovingly on her backpack. And she says, oh, thank you. She says, oh, I thought I lost it. It was enough that I lost my other belongings. And she says, thank you, Erlon. My name is Jade.
So it was a pleasure to meet you, Jade.
And she goes to stand up. And she's a little bit woozy, she came on the verge of death. But she gets her balance, and she's looking at her clothes, and they're just completely ripped. And she's looking down, and she sputters a curse word. that Lady Agatha, you can't help but notice that her mouth drop open. And Jade, lets out a curse word, and she says, "My brand new leggings." And then she looks at Lady Agatha's face and she says, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." She says, "I was just overcome with surprise, you see." And she says, "Oh, you're just completely ruined." And Andres says, "It's okay, Jade. You should be thankful that you have your life." And she says, "Oh, of course, Andres. Of course I'm grateful."
Erlon says, "So I hear you're quite the healer."
And she says, I dabble.
Says, "You and I will have to talk about medicine a little bit. I would love to learn a few things from you."
And now, at this point, Theron, a long time ago, you finished your food, and you probably, went back to the room?
Yeah.
Because Erlon's going to be gone for, he had been gone for quite a while now at this point. So imagine you would go back to, I'm going to put you back in the room here. So, there's a knock on the door, Deadeyes, and I imagine you open it. You hear Theron on the other side. And you let him in, and Theron comes in. All right, so back to these guys. Yeah, and then Jade said, and then we hear more yelling from the hallway. "Okay, tell me what's going on right now. I have a right to know. I live here too." And Captain Thomon just says, "If you'll excuse me," and you lose sight of him as he disappears around the corner. And we can hear a mumbled voice down the hall. Captain Thomon speaking to someone in a cell. Of course, Erlon, you know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
And Jade looks confused. Like, who's that?
Does that Lady Agatha say anything?
And
I kind of pause for a second. If she doesn't say anything,
I guess she would. Lady Agatha says, "A girl who has some anger issues, who needs to cool off for a while." And Jade lets out a little chuckle. And she says, "A girl with anger issues, huh?" And Jade says, "What's she so angry about? Other than, I guess, living in a place like this, I suppose I'd be angry too."
Burn!
And Lady Agatha clears her throat, and you can tell that, Lady Agatha is taking great pride with Shadow's Hold and living here and the whole lifestyle and everything. And you know that mentally that was like kind of a little slap in the face at Lady Agatha. And you can't help but feel slightly amused at that comment because it was so sly and so innocently said that you know that Lady Agatha, there's no way she could really get upset about it. And Lady Agatha just retorts back, "This place is the best that we have to survive." And she says, "Now's probably a good time to start getting accustomed to things around here." And she says, "Erlon, you finished the whole tour with Andres?"
I did.
She says, "Good. Andres, you can fill Jade in. If you guys wouldn't mind staying here until I find more permanent quarters for you. I need to figure out where you can stay." And Jade looks around. She says, "Stay in here? In a cell like a common thief?"
Heck
and
yeah.
He says, I'm sorry, but it is sort of a tradition for any newbies or freshies, sorry, not newbies, but freshies who come to Shadow's Hold." And she says, "Well, not very welcoming, is it?" And Andres says, "It'll be fine, Lady Agatha. One night won't hurt us." And she says, "Well, excellent. I will tell the captain to bring some more things to help you get comfortable." And she says, "Please, get some rest. Tomorrow will be a busy day."
Erlon says, "I'll be back in the morning to finish healing whatever wounds you have left." He says, "But I have an appointment with a mug of ale."
And And Andreas says, "Oh, thank you very much, kindly, Erlon. You've been very helpful."
He says,
Jay
we'll
just
talk.
gives you a nod in agreement with what Andreas said.
He says, I'll see you first thing in the morning.
Okay.
He walks out.
So as you walk out, Lady Agatha and the captain.
Erlon wants to talk to Lady Agatha as we walk.
Lady Agatha and the captain just got done talking to Yana about.
So she's obviously probably down there talking to her, though, when I come out, right?
No, Lady Agatha and Erlon, you follow Lady Agatha out, but the captain is right behind you as he just finished talking with Yana quickly. And Lady Agatha just looks behind her and says, "Captain, if you'll be so kind as to give Andres and Jade the standard, not equipment, but supplies that they'll need, that would be great." So the three of you kind of walk out together.
And Erlon said, when we get into the judging chamber, Erlon will ask her if he could talk to her for a minute.
She says, "Certainly." And the captain just eyes Lady Agatha, and she gives him a nod, and he exits out.
Erlon says, Andreas is a soldier from the area that I'm from. And he says, with Ghoul dead, we'll be needing another fighter for our group. He says, so I'm just throwing that out there, that he's interested in possibly joining, and we are looking for someone.
And she nods and she says, well, it makes sense. Often those who spent time in the guard definitely have little desire to leave that life behind. It's in their very nature. She says, yeah, if Andres seeks to become a hunter, then I certainly don't have a problem with it. Of course, as long as the standard protocols are followed, at least.
Sure, I would expect that would be done.
Yep.
He says, but one more thing. He goes, so he says, the other thing I wanted to talk to you about. He goes, when we leave here, I want to make sure that you guys have the ability to use healing magic. And so he says, I'm offering you something. He said, I'm offering to teach somebody that may be capable, if we can find someone in your area, to be a bard.
And she says, that would be most beneficial. She says, and an excellent idea, Erlon.
He said, so you maybe put your feelers out to possible candidates. And
she says, I will admit, Erlon, I've already had the same idea. But the person I think is best suited to learn from you was too afraid to come near you.
And who is that?
Brendan. She
is
says,
that the boy that Ghoul?
Yes.
Camp?
Yeah. She says Ghoul frightened him to death, and he even expressed interest to me of how fascinated he is that you can play music. And he seems to be very eager to learn how to do what you do. And given his young age, I think you just might find he's a good student, eager to soak in all your knowledge. And she says he couldn't overcome his fear of you always being around Ghoul, and he didn't want to be around Ghoul given what happened between Brendan and Ghoul, with an axe being to his throat and all. And she says, but I guess the situation has changed now, it seems, hasn't it?
Says, then do I have your permission to approach him?
She says, absolutely. She says, I welcome it.
All right, I'll do that.
Yeah, actually, what's funny about that is I actually had, before that happened, where Ghoul botched that and I rolled a 1,
Yeah.
that whole thing. He was supposed to kind of be your like number one fan, and he was going to constantly be bugging you and harassing you. But what I rolled was he was pretty much traumatized by what Ghoul did to him. And so that whole thing that I had planned with him like kind of being annoying and like want you to play music all the time and stuff, and he's trying to be your student eventually.
Sure.
He's just stayed the heck away. So it's just kind of funny how these things play out. But
Well, I've been thinking about this for a while, and it's like my character wouldn't want to leave these people completely destitute. I mean, there is good in me.
just a little skosh. But
well,
yeah. So you can even picture Brendan. You've seen the kid a few times around. Lately, he's been just kind of being a messenger boy of like delivering Lady Agatha's messages. But you can clearly see now, like with him being around the clerical work and being around leadership, like man, he would be in a position to maybe write some really cool songs because he kind of gets hands-on with everything that's going on here in Shadow's Hold. And and being a young boy, I mean, you were young when Thomas took you in.
Yep.
And and here you are, So, okay. So, some time definitely had passed by, and you make it all the way back to your quarters. Unless there's something else you wanted to go do?
Nope.
Okay. You still have your key. Theron and Deadeyes, you guys have... Well, you hear the door creak open, and there's some light in there. You come in, Erlon. And you see just Deadeyes and Theron. You don't even see the captain yet. And it's getting kind of late, but you don't know where he is, but, he's a big boy. He can take care of himself.
Yeah.
Erlon says, I think there's a very good possibility we may be getting some roommates.
Oh, sorry. Speaking of that, Lady Agatha wanted to talk to you about one thing.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I got sidetracked. When Lady Agatha, when you're in the judging chamber, she says, now I have something to ask of you, Erlon. And she says, as you know, I already had to shuffle people around to make room for you and your company. It just so happens that you have 2 available sleeping spots in your quarters. Would you be okay with me putting Andres and Jade in with you?
And he says, sure. That would be fine.
Okay. And, she nods and she says, thank you, Erlon.
It's kind of what I expected anyway. He'd already thought that that's the most likely place because it's probably the only place with room.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep, pretty much. So, at least that's not in the chambers or the holding cells.
Yeah.
So, okay.
So I don't say we're most likely going to be getting some roommates. I say we're
exactly. Yes.
we're going to be getting some roommates.
Yes. That's what made me think of it. Like, oh crap, I forgot to mention that. Okay, so Theron, you hear that 2 more people are going to be added to. You know that you met one of them, but you know nothing about this other person.
He says
Theron
it sounds like they're from Blueport, Starport, possibly. The warrior's definitely from Blueport.
Really?
Yeah, his name is Andreas.
Andres.
Andres.
The giant?
I forget his last name. What was his last name? I know you said.
Riffolk? Or Riffolk. Andres Riffolk. Riffolk.
Okay, so he says his name is Andres Riffolk.
Go ahead, roll me a history check there, Deadeyes. Because you've sailed around Blueport quite a bit.
Yeah.
So go ahead, roll a history.
14 straight up.
Yeah, and you've heard of the name. You know that there is a soldier that goes by that name that is renowned for being what people call or have labeled the Goblin Slayer. And apparently he has a rich past dealing with goblins, and he's like a specialist when it comes to fighting them.
So the Goblin Slayer washed up here, huh?
Yeah, you know him, huh? He was just telling me all about his goblin prowess, about how he loves to fight and slay goblins.
Yeah, I've heard of him. He dislikes goblins. Too bad he doesn't dislike spiders as much.
Or zombies, I say.
Yeah.
And since I don't have a character there, I can't say anything. Yeah. So I guess you guys get sleepy, you get more sloshed, and you turn in for the night, right?
Yep.
Okay. Actually, as you guys are getting there sloshed, there's a rap at the door, and you see the captain. And he comes in, and he's still holding a mug, and he is completely sloshed as well. And he's like, hey, guys, I didn't wake you up, did I?
No, come and join the party. There's still more ale in this bottomless jug.
Yeah, by the way, how much ale can you get out of that thing anyways?
I don't know.
I think you said it was 2 gallons per use, and then you can just do it again, I guess.
Every sunrise or something like that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's what it was. It was 2 gallons per day.
Yeah.
Dude, 2 gallons is a lot of
Holy crap.
like, yeah.
What was it called? Alchemy jug. That's what it's called.
Party in the bard's room.
That's right.
Okay, yeah, so of ale... Oh, wait, it would be either beer or wine.
Oh, all right.
All right.
Although one thing that's really weird about this, when was mayonnaise invented? Because it's weird that this jug can produce mayonnaise. Like,
Yeah, that is weird.
doesn't that seem like more of a relatively more modern...
I have no
I'm
idea.
pretty
Well, same
sure it was
with
invented by
beer.
the French in the 1500s.
Was it?
I think so. I mean, it's basically just oil.
Well, how
and
about
eggs.
beer as well?
Yeah.
When
It
was
is, yeah.
Would,
Long
I would
time
Yeah,
ago.
beer's been around a long time.
uh,
But yeah, if it's beer, which I guess could be what you guys are doing, 4 gallons maximum until it recharges. But it can pour 2 gallons per minute. So, yeah, 4 gallons of beer.
It was invented in 1756
No, I was just going to say that. I just looked it up too.
in France.
It was France.
Well, so 1756, that's still kind of weird they put that in a D&D
I know.
book. I mean, I could think of a lot of other things they could have put there.
Oh,
Like rum, you know? I don't know.
Mm.
Yeah, whatever. Ale.
beer sounds too modern, in
weird.
my opinion.
That
Whatever.
beer's really old.
Yeah, I know it is, but just hearing beer just sounds modern. Whatever.
Okay, so yeah, so you guys pour a whole bunch of drinks, and the captain says, "Does this thing ever run out?" And
we're going to find out tonight, I say.
slurping it down. So yeah, I'm just curious to see if anyone passes out. Everyone roll a Constitution check who's getting sloshed.
Sweet.
Oh, hold on. I gotta.
Yeah, I guess they don't really know how old beer is, but they have found a poem that's 3,900 years old that talks
Yeah.
about the goddess of brewing.
I saw
Nice.
that.
I think I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, you're doing good.
Not people percent.
Have Deadeye
Okay,
Constitution.
they're on Will.
Wow. Yeah, you guys are holding. Well,
Wait,
Deadeye's
wait.
liver is already pretty much pickled. So
There's Deadeye's roll.
okay.
Oh, no, that's Theron's roll, huh?
Yep, that's mine. How's Theron doing?
I'm gonna do the captain here. Hey, this is not very potent brew. So Theron, you're the first to pretty much pass out from just
You've had a rough day, man.
Yeah. And I don't think I remember you really drinking all that much ever. You know, you're a monk.
No.
You believe
He
in keeping
doesn't.
yourself pure and, you know, to this void. And
He
like,
does. But
and
this
all
one's
that.
an exception.
But this is an exception. You're kind of
Yep.
just wanting to let loose as well. You know, everyone else is doing it, so the peer pressure's kind of getting
There
you
you
too.
go.
But you're just kind of like, what the heck? Why not?
Yep.
So eventually you guys just get sloshed to the point where you guys just lay on your beds and just crash. And you guys sleep hard. Now, Deadeyes, you drift off asleep. And you find yourself in some strange place that you've never been before, but it's cold. And you can't help but just kind of huddle up like this because it's just so bitter cold. And you're like in this black void. And you feel something move across your feet. And then something slide against your ankle. And it seems even colder still, but sticky and wet. And then you hear voices calling behind you, just saying some strange words that you've never even heard before. You can't even speak the language. Just saying, "Sloth the sun, sloth the sun, don't go on." And just all sorts of craziness, right? All of a sudden your mind is filled with all these visions, all these different images. All of a sudden you see a piece of skin and it's being ripped apart. You're seeing a floor with blood oozing and rushing across this floor, just completely staining and covering this floor as this blood is just billowing out like a wave. And then you're seeing flashes of all these monsters, or at least what you think are monsters, because they have these elongated heads and they have the shiny reptilian-looking skin and have these massive teeth, and they sit there and just and like seriously, like from a horror movie, right? And it's just constant, like these images are just keep on flickering back and forth and everything. This feeling of being in this void space, and hearing these voices and these whispers all throughout you. And then you're kind of startled and you look down, and one of your like ornate tattoos around your arm, you know, like you said before, I think in your backstory, it's like this almost like mathematically precise, like impossibly precise for like a mortal to be able to do something like that with these tattoos. Like they, you know, anyone who looks at your tattoos are kind of drawn into them. But you notice that your arm is starting to glow with this soft luminescent light, like just really faint, not really bright or anything, but you look down and your eyes go wide and you swear that you see some of these patterns shift on your arm. And then you hear another voice, and it's almost like right in your ear. And you look over and you're startled and you see this bestial face with these fangs and these reptilian-looking eyes looking right at you. And you're like startled awake. And you keep hearing, and you're covered with sweat, and you're like thinking, holy crap, I just got so drunk. But at the same time, you put your hand on your arm, and it feels really warm, like really strangely warm to the touch. And you look down at your arm, and you swear you think one of your tattoos is different. Like the way that it goes around your arm, like it's shifted on your arm slightly. And the other thing is you keep hearing in the recesses of your mind the words that was whispering into your ear. And you know that if you were to say these words again, that you would be able to create this void-like area of these tentacles, or some like this strange place that you were at with these whispers and these creatures. And you know that you might know the words now to bring such a thing into existence. And it actually kind of, I don't know how Deadeyes would feel about it, but awesome. I don't know. Would he be like kind of excited about it, or would he be like freaked out, like, holy crap, like I know how to do this?
I think be more along the lines of excited, but yeah.
Okay.
Just like, holy crap.
Yeah. So you just have this completely freaky ass dream. And Erlon, you have been trying to piece together as well. You know, you've been working at it for, I guess, just a day, a couple days. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
But you've been like that whole what you read in that book about this little protective hemisphere. You think you might understand the words to pluck at the weave to create such an effect, and you've been experimenting with it. And strangely enough, as you were laying in bed, about to drift off to sleep, you suddenly think you had a realization, as just the booze just helped you kind of relax and let go of things, and your mind was just free to wander. And your subconscious just solved the final piece of the puzzle for you. And you just, as you drifted off to sleep, you just got this big smile on your face, as you knew that you finally figured out the missing piece with the spell. And with that, I'm going to award experience.
Wow!
Finally.
Nice.
So I want to also wake up early in the morning, like, and role play a couple things, if that's cool.
Like while everyone else is sleeping early, or
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So experience
I think
that
that's
you
cool.
guys.
You incorporated in the Lehman's Hut thing. That's good.
Okay, here it is. You guys have earned, and I had to adjust because Gould died, so you guys got a bit more experience on that encounter with the grudge there.
Right on.
Okay, experience gain in Shadow's Hold. Okay, you guys get 3,290 experience each.
Cool. Ding.
Congrats.
Heck yeah.
Ding.
Heck yeah.
Whoosh.
How much was that again?
I think I said 3,290. Yeah, 3,290.
All right.
And I believe that's enough for everyone to go up, right?
Yep. I just need to look at the next level.
Now,
14,000.
It's 14,000?
Yeah.
so Deadeyes or Theron, you both have the same experience point value. Can you tell me what that is? Because that is going to be on Andreas's total as well.
6,752.
And we need 14,000?
At the next level. Sounds like, yep.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
I didn't. Wow.
Freaking exponential
Hey.
yin yang.
That's like doubling the amount of experience we've accrued thus far, like doing it all again.
Yep.
Which, of course, you know, monsters start becoming worth a lot more too. So,
Nice. I hope
Can I
so.
use? I wanted to use a
Song of Rest or something.
no, just a hit dice to heal myself. All I have to
Sure.
do is roll a 1. I only have 1 hit.
Yeah, Theron, you might want to do a hit dice as well, by the way.
Oh, I am. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, roll a. Well, wait, did you have any left?
No, I didn't. I just added it now. So oh, wait, I can't. So I'd have to wait till the next long.
No, you can. Yeah, you
Oh,
just.
I can?
Yeah, just at the end of the long rest, you get half your hit dice back. You can immediately expend 2 hit dice if you wanted to, since that's all you would have.
Okay, so I'll expend 1. No Song of Rest, right?
Erlon, is that your hit die that you're spinning?
Yeah,
And remember to add your Constitution modifier, so it's actually
it
plus
doesn't
2.
matter. I only had one hit,
Oh,
one
okay.
hit point
Oh, wait.
down. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're at 24 now,
Yep.
so you're 1 hit point down. Okay,
Damn it.
so now it's time for rolling hit points. So let's go in order.
Alright.
I don't know, Deadeyes, do you want to go first? What?
Wow. Well, I get a +1, so it's 3.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
That is
Oh my
pretty
gosh,
bad.
That sucks.
I'll go next.
Hold on.
Okay.
So you are now at, your max should be, wait a minute.
31.
Something's not right.
Why?
I have down here on my piece of paper that your hit points, your max was 30. How come it shows 28 now?
Yeah, I don't, my sheet said 28 for quite a while.
But I have here written down 30.
Either my sheet got messed up a long time ago, or
I think your sheet got messed up because a long time ago I went and wrote down everybody's current hit points and like everything and armor classes and all that, so I wouldn't have to look it up. Just look on my sheet. So I'm going to trust my sheet. So I think you have actually 33.
right.
Mike, a lot of things I've found get messed up for some reason. Like I've had to refix my armor class and a bunch of other things.
And other characters, like I've had to redo spells and stuff. I don't know why some stuff gets messed up, but...
By the way, I fixed that sleep spell. So now it works.
That's good.
It'll just tag it.
I'm going to trust my notes over what the character sheet says there, basically, Mike.
Weird. I actually just put my hit points up to 33 and it went back to 28.
What? Oh.
Just while I was on the sheet.
What?
My hit points are fine, right?
Well, boy, I better check. Let me check yours. So max 25. Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
All right. So do you want to roll next, Theron, for your points?
Here we go.
2d8, keep highest one.
Yes!
6.
Word.
Good job. So
All
you're
right,
at 31.
31 max. So
Yep.
31, and I'll have 30 hit points left. There we go.
Now, by the way, if at the top, if you guys just change your character sheet level from 4 to 5, it'll automatically adjust your proficiency bonus and all your skills.
Oh wait, I can. All right.
Yeah, just change it to a 5, and you'll see everything get updated.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, dude.
Jeez.
Look at our
nice.
new sheet right there.
Yep.
10, so you should have 45 hit points now.
Yep.
Okay?
I'm the bard tank.
Holy crap.
Yep.
Sweet.
In Deadeyes, you have 33 hit points, right?
It didn't update my proficiency bonus.
It did mine.
It
It
should.
should be 4, right?
No, it should be +3.
Oh, okay.
3, 6,
Was it 2 before?
Yeah.
Oh,
It
okay.
was 2 before, and everyone's proficiency bonus now, except for mine.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I see my performance skill and everything went up.
Yep, everything should have already updated as soon as your proficiency bonus changed.
Nice. Oh, my spell attack bonus is up.
Yep, so everyone's spelled DC saves have went up. Basically everything got bumped up by 1. Your attack modifier should be up +1 because of your proficiency bonus adjustment.
Yeah.
Basically, our party just got even more kick-ass.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, it did.
And Andres, I'm sure you guys guessed, he's a fighter. And I started him at 5 for our own sake. And he's going to have the same amount of XP as Theron and Deadeyes. Now, Jade, of course, is going to be my character. And she is at level 4. She has 4,486 experience points. Remember, I rolled 47%. So she's 47% of the way through her level. Yeah, sucks I'm level 4. I'm not level 5 with you guys, but I'll get there. And I'll just have to award experience maybe a couple times more often just so that she can level up. And she's probably going to get some experience with the training because they're not going to let her or Andres join the hunting party without going through the protocols, as was already alluded to.
Yep.
So.
Whoops, didn't mean that. Damn. Just had to roll that.
All right, so your character should be all ready to go at level 5 now, right?
Yes.
It's not updating my attack. It's still at a +5. It should be a +6 now. What the heck?
Oh, that's me. Sorry. I'm just wanting to try
Mine.
something.
Mine did.
Oh, okay.
You know what I
Did you
did?
just-
Yeah, I unchecked the proficient and then clicked it back.
Oh, awesome. Okay. I think that was it then that I just needed. Oh, and my DC save. Yeah, I'll adjust that. Awesome.
We get half of our hit dice back on a long rest?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Half
I
of
don't
your
use them
hit
very
dice.
often, so.
Yeah. So you get half of your hit dice back. So yeah, Deadeyes, you have that new awesome spell now that you know, where you could bring in that void to that very scary, dangerous place. What else changed for you?
For
What
me,
else did you? Yeah.
I've got Repelling Blast.
Okay.
Pretty big change. And I get 2 bolts with my Eldritch Blast.
Nice.
And I swapped out my Double Sight for Voice of the Chain Master.
Excellent. Which I'm sure a lot of people would be like, well, you're going to be a Gimp Warlock now. But I think I think that's a good call. Most of our encounters are in the daytime right now, and seeing at night isn't really that important. Because we all know what happens at night.
The only thing I really had it for the most part, is to do the darkness combo, but I like Mirror Image better. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Well, I think you already found out, too, that the darkness against these spiders, it's somewhat situational
that too. Yep.
with their senses and stuff.
Not as useful here.
Yeah. All right, so everyone's sheets are all updated, good to go. We have a long road to level 6.
Yep.
What did Theron get at level 5?
Oh my gosh. Well, let's see. Attack went from a +5 to +6. Damage went from a D4 to a D6. Knockdown went from a D6 to a D8.
Ooh.
Yep. DC save is now 14 instead of 13. I can now do extra attack. So I can do 4 attacks total with my Fury of Blows instead of just 3.
Jeez.
And I have Stunning Strike, where I can attempt to stun them until the end of my next turn.
How many key points is that for the stun?
1.
Jeez.
Yep.
Okay. Also take note, everyone, your maximum number of hit dice now is 5.
Yep. I changed it.
Oh, yeah.
I already updated yours there.
Never mind. Okay, yeah, cool. All right, you got it.
Note, though, it's still divided by 2, rounded down for number of hit dice that we get back, so it's still only 2
Yeah.
for every long rest.
Until we hit 6.
Yeah, once you hit 6, then it'll be 3 hit dice.
Yep. Right on. I'm ready to kick some ass.
Yeah. Okay. Erlon, you wake up from your little dream that you were having, and you could just tell, it's dark, really dark in the room. But,
Oops. Didn't mean to do that.
yeah. It's really dark in the room, but, the lamp had actually burned out. But, yeah, you're just, I guess, you have something eager that you want to do?
Yeah. So I'm going to relight the lamp.
Okay.
And then
Light spills into the room.
I'm going to pull out a piece of paper and start writing some notes. Because I put together how to make this song work with Lehman's Tiny Hut and how to get this together. And so I'm thinking about it. I'm writing these notes and I'm kind of thinking about Bard's College, as I'm doing this. And I start thinking about this Bard that I was in college with. He used to use this spell that would send a message in your head. And he'd do it during class to distract you and kind of bother you. And it gets me kind of thinking, I wonder if I could do that, but send it across the ocean and maybe send a message to Thomas. So I start thinking about how I could do this and how I could make this magic work. And so then I've got an idea and I start scribing down music. to try and make this work, and I'm going to test it out and see
Excellent.
if I can make this sending spell work.
Yeah, so you now have like all these papers just with all sorts of bardic notes and notation everywhere, and you think you might have now been able to condense it down into like a simple cadence.
Yep.
That you can sing and speak the words with the cadence, and it should be able to send like this message through the weave and to some distant place, to someone. So were you going to cast it and try it?
Yeah.
So yeah, so someone familiar. Someone interrupts you though. You hear Captain Balazar sit up and he says, "Oh, Erlon, you're awake already." And he puts a hand over his head and he's like, "Ooh." And he says, "I'm glad you're awake." And he says, "I did some thinking last night and I wanted to talk to you."
Oh boy.
Okay. So
And he says,
is something wrong?
He says, "Well, I kind of had I had to be honest with myself." And he says, "I am very grateful for you finding my daughter's locket for me." And he says, "And I still feel that I owe you something." And he says, "But I hope that you will understand." He says, "I don't fully understand everything that happened in that cave, but I do know that I almost died."
We all did.
And he says, "The spiders are nasty enough, and I can deal with those, but that horror in that cave." And he says, "I hate to think of what other horrors exist on this cursed place." And he says, "I don't think I'm cut out for this." He says, "I already spoke with Beatrice, and there's an open spot for me if I'll be willing to take it, which I am, to help out with the kitchens and to learn how to cook." And he says, "I've dabbled with cooking a lot. It's kind of a hobby of mine." He says, "But I think I would prefer to make do here where it's safe. But I please ask of you that if you do find a way off of this place, please do not forget me."
He says, I would never forget you, Captain." He says, "But you're done. You don't want to go out anymore."
He says, "That's correct. Like I would prefer to stay here in the company of nice women and good and decent food." He caught himself as he was about to say good food, but then he thought a moment about it and was like, "No, just decent food." "But at least it's safe here."
He says, "Well, we'll definitely miss you. You were definitely an asset to our party."
He says, "I appreciate that. I tried really hard to pull my weight in the group."
Could we borrow his locket? No.
You're asleep.
No.
It's his daughters, dude. I wouldn't even ask.
I'm just messing with you. I know. Heck yeah.
But
So he says, "Well, there's nothing I can say to change your mind."
and he shakes his head and says, "No." He says, I want to live to see the day to where I can get a new ship and just sail the seas." And he says, that was always my life's calling. He says, "Not going into danger like what we have been doing."
Well, the good thing is we still share a room, and I'll share with you the things that we learn and the progress toward getting the hell out of here.
And he says, I thank you for your understanding."
He says, "Well, Ghoul's death has affected us all differently, I'm sure. It's
He
given
says-
me more of a drive to get the hell out of here."
And he says, "I don't see how it could ever be the same." Okay?
All right.
So, yeah, this day is now it's 6/17, year 157 years after the coming of the gods. And, now what... So you kind of close the discussion, and the captain just lays back down on the bed with an arm over his head to kind of block out the light. And he drifts off back to sleep.
So I'm going to sing out the spell, just not really loud, do it kind of quietly, almost whispering it as I do it. And I'm going to send a message to Thomas.
Okay. So let's see. Duration 1 round.
Yep.
Range unlimited. Target someone familiar. You send a short message of 25 words or less to a creature with which you are familiar. What level spell is this, anyways?
Oh, sorry. I should have put that. Oh, no. It's a 3rd level spell.
Yeah. I was looking at it. I was thinking about the uses of it, too.
Yep. It's a 3rd level spell.
Okay. Wow, 3rd level spell. Okay.
Yep.
The creature hears the message in its mind, recognizes you as the sender if it knows you, and can answer in a like manner immediately. The spell enables creatures with intelligence scores of at least 1 to understand the meaning of your message. You can send the message across any distance and even to other planes of existence, but if the target is on a different plane than you, there is a 5% chance that the message doesn't arrive. Holy crap. Yeah,
that's cool.
Well, it enables them to send a message back directly.
It's better than a cell phone.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so as long as he answers immediately. Yeah, 25 words. Okay, so yeah, you cast a spell and you kind of start to sing the riff, and then you're like, no, that's not right. And then you're like, who are you gonna call? No, I'm just so you sing this little riff, and you sing the words, these up to 25 words, along with this this melody. So what do you say? And of course, you picture Thomas in your mind as the recipient.
So I tell Thomas that we've been shipwrecked on our way to Starport. We are in some place called the Cursed Islands.
Actually, why don't you just type this out?
Oh, okay, that'll work.
Make sure it's 25 words long.
Yeah,
yep.
Exactly.
Because if you go longer than 25 words, it's just going to all of a sudden cut off.
Yep.
And it could be interesting.
I do know that this place is called the Cursed Island, right?
They call it the Forsaken Isles.
Oh, the Forsaken Isles is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Make sure you start the message with the "Dear Thomas," to kind of introduce yourself. No,
Oh, he'll know it's my voice.
Yeah, I
It
know.
says that in the spell.
I'm just messing with you. Yeah.
What does infamous mean?
Shit.
Did you type it yet?
Yeah, but it's way too long.
Well, type it.
I'm just going to send it.
Yeah, I'm sure Erlon's going to have to figure out how to use it. Yeah. Okay.
And he's going to miss the whole end that is all about Ghoul dying.
So, way. We are seeking a way. That is the last thing that gets sent. So, you basically say, Thomas, we've been shipwrecked on our way to Starport. We're in a place they call the Forsaken Islands. We are seeking a way. And you say the rest of it. In your mind, you're thinking, oh, yeah, this is going to be great. But here's the other thing, is you wait a few moments, and you don't hear any response back.
Shit. That's not good. That doesn't make me feel comfortable.
Oh, boy.
But I know the spell worked, right? I mean, I felt like the magic worked.
Yeah, you're sure that the spell worked. Like, you felt the vibrations of the weave around you, and you felt your words just kind of cause these vibrations through the weave and just to send it out. And you're pretty confident that if Thomas is out there, that it should have gotten to him.
Man, that just ruined my day.
Yeah.
Because if he didn't respond, that means bad things.
Maybe he was asleep.
I would have woken him up.
Wow. Right on.
How would you have woken him up?
You don't think it would have woke him up?
Maybe you should have yelled in your message. Hey!
No, maybe not.
Well, let me just point out that the recipient basically has to immediately answer.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So your heart kind of drops because you don't hear any response. But then you remember, you look at your companions sleeping, and you realize it's still freaking early in the morning. And not only that, but Mysticka is far more to the west, and the time is going to be different.
So it'll be even more in the middle of the night.
Yep.
All right. That's a good point. I'll try it later today. Well, I probably won't try it today, in fact.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to try a different spell today to make sure it works.
Right. Yeah. So basically, you guys are definitely not going out hunting.
No.
Today.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
All right. So I know it's still early.
Mm-hmm.
How early is it? Like
hour and a half before the usual get-up time, I guess.
All right. I'm going to quietly get my things and leave the room. And
Okay.
head toward the judging chamber.
Ooh. Okay.
Mm.
Very nice. So you're going to be stealthy about it?
Yeah.
Okay, roll stealth check.
All right.
Come on, bomb it.
Actually, I'm pretty good at stealth, but I have screwed up these things before.
Oh! Holy crap! No one hears us.
Crap.
Dude, you couldn't get any stealthier. Like, you did not even make the slightest sound as you get your things. And
even the door closed.
Even the door is completely dead silent. And as you close the door, all you can hear is the Captain Balazar as he's drifted off back to sleep.
Holy crap.
Nice roll, man.
Very nice. So you look down the main hall, and there's some torches with this continual flame, like burning, spilling into illuminating the hallway. And you stroll down.
All right.
I'm just going to take you all the way up to... You open up this door, and there's a slight creak as it opens, and you see Captain with a bunch of linens there leaned up against the wall, just asleep. And you notice that this is closed.
Okay. I'm going to clear my throat a little bit loudly. Like, let him know I'm there.
Okay. And he wakes up. And he recognizes you and says, "Oh, Erlon, is it morning already?"
Yeah, it's a little before a normal wake-up time, but I figured I'd come and check on our visitors and see if they need any more of my healing skills.
And he looks at you curiously, and he says, "You don't plan on speaking with Yana, do you?"
No, I have no desire to talk to her.
Okay, roll a perception or persuasion.
Okay.
Ooh, we should be good at these. Ugh. That was disgusting, man.
Okay.
12
He looks
isn't
at
that
you,
bad.
and he's satisfied, and he nods, and he says,
Oh.
You're a good man, Erlon. I trust you.
Never mind. Good job, Jared.
It's a good thing I have a
And
+5.
he says, just a second. And he opens up, this portcullis here with these, the bars that come down and stuff, and he raises it to allow you passage.
All right. So I'm going to go up. I turn to him and I say, there's cell doors open, right?
Yeah, and he says, yeah, it should be open.
Okay.
And
So
and you hear the sound of this close behind you, actually.
Okay.
Okay, so you walk across into this area. Okay.
And before I go into the room, I whisper in hello? Are you guys still asleep?
They are out cold. They are seriously. I rolled a 1, so they
Oh,
are
wow.
out. They don't hear you at all.
Okay.
The door's open. You know, you could easily open it. It's not locked.
All right.
Well,
So he'll open it.
Actually, it's probably already open. It's not shut or anything. I don't imagine why they would lock themselves in or anything. So
No. Well, I'm trying to decide if I would let him sleep since they had a rough night.
well, you're standing there and they're both just completely snoozing.
Maybe you can stealthily heal them. It's a miracle as they wake up.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't look weird at all if you're like
Oh yeah.
Jade wakes up in the middle as you're reaching over to grab her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Might get a dagger in my side.
Yep.
All right.
Well, actually, Erlon, real quick,
Yeah.
you see Andres laying there, and his back is like up against the wall, and there's some rolls of fabric just kind of leaned up in his back, against his back, to provide like a cushion against the hard stone. And he's just laying there, and off to his side, you see that there's 2 long swords in their scabbards, just laying there off to the side, right by his side. And you see Jade, she's kind of laying across, and her head is like on his leg.
Mm-hmm.
But tucked under her arm is her backpack.
She sure loves that backpack.
Yeah, and that's you think, man, she really loves her backpack.
I guess that's all she has.
Yeah.
So he walks in. He'll say, he'll kind of say a little louder. How are you two doing this morning?
Hope you roll another 1.
They don't respond. They're out.
Obviously. All right.
Yeah,
I'm going to
they're
leave
sleeping.
them then. I'm going to go out back to the main porculus, and
Okay.
they're and I say they're pretty out of it.
Yeah.
Their captain. Say maybe they need some more time to sleep.
Actually, 1 second, I'm going to check something. As you come out, you hear a voice from down the hall. "Psst, who's there? Hey, who's
Okay,
there?"
I cast a spell over
Okay.
there. All right, and this is it. I'll link it.
Who's there?
I think that maybe. Hold on.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know what you're going to do. Oh, my gosh. That is funny. Oh. Roll 5.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
I say, go back to sleep. And then I cast the spell.
All right, I need to figure out how many hit points she has.
Hopefully not over 23.
Yep.
You say go back to sleep, and you quickly just sing this little melodic tune, and you focus it just right down right here.
Yeah.
And right after you finish the spell, about 2 seconds later, you hear a thump on the floor.
And he smiles and turns away. Goes walking down.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and you approach, and the captain's kind of drowsily, he had sat back down, and he says, "Oh, that was fast. How are they doing? They okay?" And he looks kind of concerned.
So they're sleeping pretty hard. They obviously had a rough day yesterday. He said, I don't want to shake them awake. I'll let them sleep a little longer.
Okay. And he lowers up, or he raises the gate and allows you passage, and then he lowers it.
So you want to see a bit of magic?
He says, I'd rather get some more sleep if you wouldn't mind, Erlon.
All right, then. I'll go amuse myself elsewhere. And he walks out.
Okay.
I'm going to go over to the training grounds.
Busy. So, you make it to the training grounds, and you see these 3 dummies set up. You know, one here, and then another one here. You know, the students that Vincent has been working with, been practicing on.
Is there anybody else awake that I see?
Oh, no, not that you see.
All right.
Guess you got up too early, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of need somebody else to help me. Anyway. Well, he's going to continue studying his notes, try and perfect this. And he'll wait till 1 or 2 more people come into this area. So he's going to kick back, kind of study.
Okay, you wait 40 minutes. And you see some movement from down here, and out turns a man with these silver streaks through his hair. And you see Vincent, and his eyes light up as he sees you, and he says, "Oh, Erlon, you're up early. You wanting some more training?"
He kind of laughs. He says, "It sounds like you'll be having a busy day with that. You're probably today, anyways, with the new arrivals."
He says,
Phil.
He says they want to become hunters.
We need to find a replacement for Ghoul."
And he says, "What?" He says, "Well, where's Ghoul?"
And he says Ghoul was killed yesterday by a very powerful undead creature we found in a cave.
And he says, "Oh, Erlon, I am sorry. I know what it's like to lose someone. Many someones, I should say." And he says, "Yeah, he was very brave, a good warrior."
Aye, he was. And he says, "Would you mind testing a spell out with me?"
And he looks at you curiously, and he says, "What kind of spell?"
A spell that will create a shield, a dome shield to cover me.
And he says, "Is there fire or cold or
No,
lightning involved?"
nothing like that. You won't be hurting anyway.
Roll persuasion.
All right.
See if he gives you the bird.
He does have a lot to do. I don't know if he'll...
Ooh,
Eh.
not horrible. Could have been worse.
He says, "For you, Erlon, sure, I'll help you out."
Right on.
And he
So he
says,
says,
"What do you want me to do?"
"You stay right there. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to cast this spell. And I want you to see if you can get through this dome. Use your sword, do whatever."
Okay.
All right, so I walk over there, and I cast Lehman's Tiny Hut.
Okay, you cast... what color are you going to make it?
I am going to make it have a hint of blue. Why not?
Nice.
Okay, and what's the radius of it? It's like...
Would you like me to link the spell?
Yes,
Or
please.
do you want me to just tell you? Okay.
Yeah, you can just tell it.
10 foot.
10 foot.
Yep.
Okay, all other creatures and objects are barred from passing through it. Spells and other magical effects can't extend through the dome or be cast through it. The atmosphere inside the space is comfortable and dry, regardless of the weather outside. Until the spell ends, you can command the interior to become dimly lit or dark. The dome is opaque from the outside, any color you choose, but it is transparent from the inside. Okay. So to explain what happens here, you cast the spell, and just as you finish casting it, you're like waiting for something to happen. Then suddenly you see, actually the casting time is 1 minute. So it's going to take you a good while to cast this, actually.
Yeah.
So you cast this, and you're waiting for something to happen. You're thinking maybe you did it wrong, but then you see the air start to shimmer around you, and you can feel the vibrations of the weave and magic going on around you. And you can almost, your ears almost kind of pop from the pressure of this whole dome just suddenly enclosing around you, and you can hear it. And it starts to harden and solidify. and you can see through it, but you can still kind of tell that there's like a barrier between you and the outside of the dome. You can see through it, but what Vincent sees is this bluish-shaped dome just start from the outside and just this energy just ripple up, and you can almost hear these like hardened sounds of like creaking noises as it just and forms up, and till basically that happens. And Vincent says, "Whoa!" Says, "What is this?"
Can he hear out? Like, can I hear through it? It doesn't say whether you can or not, does it?
That's a good question. Spells and other magical effects can't extend through the dome.
Yeah, it doesn't say anything about it.
Apparently, it may not shut out sound.
Okay.
I would imagine it would be muffled.
Yeah.
I would guess that you couldn't hear because it says spells and other effects, and there's spells that are audible. So that are like totally based
Well, it says spells and other magical effects.
well, like being able to hear. You know, there's like spells that make sounds that do things. I don't know.
It's true.
Didn't we make it when in a different party when we did that Lehman's Tiny Hut and then those ogres attacked us? Wasn't it because we heard them and we all woke up when we were in that dome?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just from past experience.
Well, it could also be you could possibly hear, but if sounds are muffled, then that could help explain, like, if someone were to do like some sort of, I don't know, magical blast of sound, it would be muffled, so therefore you're protected against it while you're inside the dome.
Yeah, it don't matter, whatever you choose.
Yeah. The other party, I kind of ruled that you could hear.
Okay.
But I would say it would probably be muffled, though.
Okay.
Like someone being on the other side of a door in a room. Basically, you would have to shout for anyone of some distance away from the dome for them to hear you.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
And so he says that, and I say it's a barrier that can protect our party if we ever need to rest overnight.
And he walks up to it, and he starts placing his hands on, trying to walk and to get in. And you can see his hands just press, and you can even see, like how when someone's on the other side of a glass door, when they're pressing in on it, you can see the hands, what you see. And he's just like, man, this is some hard stuff. And he says, can you hear me? And you're just kind of hearing this. It's like really muffled, but you can barely make out what you're saying because it's so quiet.
Yeah. It's muffled, but I can hear you, I say.
I will say, let me do some reading about this, that same situation. We'll figure it out for next time. But for now, that's how I'm going to roll it. We'll find out. I want to make sure that I'm not off base with something.
Okay.
But yeah, and he pulls out a sword, and he looks at it and says, "This is one of my good swords, I'll have you know, Erlon." And he just kind of lightly dings against it, not really doing a lot of force. But you hear this.
Hold on.
Okay.
And I take out my short sword, and I slide it through the dome at his feet. But I make sure my hand doesn't go through it. I just kind of push it so the sword slides out at his feet. And I say, use that.
Okay, and he jumps up. He's like, whoa, what's this?
And I say, it's my short sword. Use it to strike the dome.
Okay, of course, using his long sword, clearly he can't get through.
Yeah.
So he sheathes it, picks up your short sword, and the sword goes through, but it stops at his hand.
Yep. That's what I wanted to see. Okay. So he says, and then, so what I do now is I come walking out this side of it.
Hold on one second. I want to read this again, make sure I did that right.
No, I can because it was in there when it started.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's such a cool spell.
Yeah.
Demon's tiny hut.
Yeah. Well, creatures and objects within the dome when you cast the spell can move through it freely. So he goes to stab and it hits his hand. He's like, and he pulls the sword back. He's like, this is a strange magical effect, Erlon.
And then what I do is I come walking out through the side of the dome, and then it disappears.
Yep, and you just see it just all of a sudden just collapses in on itself and dissipates.
Yep. And I say, I just wrote this spell last night. Well, this morning. I put it together last night, though. It's something I've been thinking on for a while.
He says, that's quite a spell. No doubt that should be useful for you to... He's like, are you meaning to tell me you plan on spending some nights out on the surface with that?
I'm just saying if it came across another situation like when Ghoul died, we were at the point where we thought we might not be able to make it back. This would protect us during those times.
And he said, it is good that you are here in Shadow's Hold with us, Erlon. Says, you are a bard of some great skill.
Heck yeah.
All right, so that's what I wanted to do this morning. Now,
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'll wait a little while till it's around breakfast time when everybody else starts
Sure.
getting up, and then I'll go.
So it starts around breakfast time. The rest of us in the room, the rest of you guys in the room, wake up and you notice that Erlon is nowhere to be found, along with his things. And Erlon, people start coming in and stuff, and some students show up, and you talk a little bit more with Vincent and stuff. Just kind of a small chit chat. Then you make your way down to the kitchens, and you're one of the first ones to basically get food and stuff.
Okay.
So you guys, Theron and Deadeyes, yeah, you guys wake up and there's no sign of Erlon.
Okay.
Wait, wouldn't Captain Balazar be up earlier than us since he's working the kitchens now?
Well, he's
Nope.
not quite assigned there
Nope.
yet.
No, he's not.
okay.
Today he's going to get that switched over, but yeah, he's
okay.
not working in the kitchens yet.
All right.
Remember the registry. He has to go talk with Lady Agatha and
Right. Okay.
But yeah.
I'm gonna head out and get breakfast, I guess, and see if I can find Erlon on the way. Maybe I'll just meet him there.
Okay. Theron, you going with Deadeyes?
Yeah, he'll go with Deadeyes to the kitchen or whatever, the lunch area
Okay.
or breakfast area.
Yep.
But he's gonna look for Tana while he's there. Since Erlon did say we're not doing anything today, did he? Or is that just
No.
an assumption? Oh, he hasn't?
No, I don't
Okay.
think you guys have really talked about it.
Alright,
You guys just basically start getting sloshed together and stuff.
It's probably a pretty good assumption without Ghoul, we're not going out there.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Never mind. He'll sit with the party then.
Okay.
Okay. So you go get food. Deadeyes, you go get some food. So subtract 1 silver each from you guys.
Oh, that's right. I'll do that as well.
And Erlon and Deadeyes, you guys are probably pretty hungry because you guys skipped dinner last night. You guys just went straight to the booze.
Yep. Well, I tried to.
Yeah.
I got called away for a bit.
Yep. So yeah, so Theron, you come down. Now, one of the things that Jade is going to do real quick, she's going to use her healing kit. She's going to use it on Andres. This is how much she healed him for. 12. Heck yeah.
A +9? Jeez.
Yep.
Holy crap. That's awesome.
She's going to do a use on herself. Oh, actually, that's 10. It's 1 less. So that being said, you guys are enjoying your food. And down through the hall, you guys see a trio come into view. As Lady Agatha is leading these two people, and Erlon, roll a perception.
Nice.
You notice, like, for how they're moving around and stuff, like, you know that there was some more healing to be done on these people, but you ran out. But they seem like they're almost in tip-top shape, and you see these bandages and stuff, and from what you can tell, they're, like, expertly applied.
Nice.
And they're not even limping. And you thought for sure this Jade lady would be totally jacked up from walking around, but she's walking around completely fine. And she's wearing these dark green colored trousers.
I think to myself, she really is a skilled healer.
Yeah. Now, Lady Agatha meets your gaze, Erlon, and everyone else is probably more focused about just eating breakfast and stuff, not really paying much attention. But she says, she comes up to the table, and these two follow, and they step up. And Deadeyes, you turn around behind you, and you look and you see this beautiful-looking girl, about 20 years old, with this dark chocolate brown hair and these green eyes. And it's about, a little below her shoulders. And you see a hand crossbow hanging down off of a belt off her waist. And you see these pouches around her waist, and she has a backpack on, as if she's going somewhere. She's basically, she's geared up as if she's going somewhere. Now, this guy that you see, he's wearing a chain shirt, and he's a bit older. He's 23 years old, but he's pretty tall for a human. He's 6'1", 230 pounds. He has this tan skin. You could definitely tell that he has seen. Well, he's been outdoors a lot. He has like this soldier-like persona about him, kind of like Ghoul did. And he has just these typical brown eyes and dark brown hair. And one thing of note, though, is you see that he has two long swords, one on each side of his waist, completely sheathed. And he also has a few pouches. He is not wearing a backpack, though. Just a couple pouches. And Lady Agatha clears her throat, and she says, "Right, I hope you guys slept well." And she says, "Erlon, you've already met them, but Deadeyes and Theron, this is Andres, and this is Jade. I already spoke with Erlon, and it seems as though these two are two potential new prospects to your hunting party." She says, "Andres, both of them are eager to join your ranks, if you will have them."
Sounds fine to me.
And you see Jade looking at you curiously, and you see her eyeing your tattoos on your arms and on your head, Deadeyes, and she's just like, she's staring.
Uh-huh.
In fact, you don't know if it's intentional or not, but she's just sitting there unblinking. She's just staring.
Yep.
And
I love how he just makes it even more
and
awkward.
Andres holds out a hand to you, Deadeyes, and he steps forward and he says, "Hello, Deadeyes. I am Andres," as Lady Agatha just said. Says, "I'm pleased to meet you, sir." And he has a chain-mailed gauntlet. He has two chain-mailed gauntlets, so he just holds out a gauntlet hand to shake your hand. And you kind of awkwardly twist around and you shake his hand, or just...
Yeah, I'll say, "Well met, Bane of Goblins. I've heard of you."
And he smiles and he says, "My reputation precedes me, it seems. How did you come about my name?"
And I heard a tale of you once in a tavern I was visiting. I've sailed around quite a bit, heard a lot of stories. Yours is one of them.
And he looks and he says, "Oh, you're a sailor."
I was.
I was. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah. And he says, well, hopefully you will get to be a sailor again soon.
We will see.
And Andres looks over at you, Theron, and he says, hello, what be your name? Oh, wait. He already met you.
He's already met me, yeah.
He says, what was your name again?
Theron says, try not to forget this time. It's Theron.
He blinks a few times, and he says, okay, Theron. Says, I'll try not to forget, but I hope you won't hold it against me if I do. And
grumbles to himself, puts another mouthful of stuff.
And Andres, yeah. And Andres looks over at Jade, and she's still staring at Deadeyes. And Andres waves a hand in front of her, and she's not really responding, and he kind of shakes her shoulder, and then she comes out of it. And she's like, huh? What? And Andres says, you okay, Jade? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. And he says, introductions. She says, oh, I'm Jade. And she says, who are you? And she's looking right at you, Theron.
Theron he just kind of shakes his head a bit, and he looks up at Jade, and he says it politely with kind of maybe his teeth kind of showing, I'm Theron. And he says, pleased to meet you. And then he goes back to eating.
That is kind of catches Erlon's eyes and just gives a little chuckle.
And she says, okay, pleased to meet you, Theron. And you are, and she looks at you, Deadeyes.
I'll glance over. I'll say, people call me Deadeyes.
And she says, why would they call you that? That's such a weird name.
And I look and I go, like you didn't notice.
And she says, well, I noticed all these strange tattoos all around him. And then she looks closer and she says, oh, of course. And she says, strange eyes. People have called me Jade for my eyes, so I understand.
Fair enough.
And Lady Agatha says, well, I see that you all have acquainted yourselves well. And she says, Andres and Jade, this way I'll show you to the breakfast. You won't be charged this time, but we need to get you registered at the registry after your meal. And then you are free to do as you wish, to perhaps do training tonight. Vincent is already expecting it. And they nod, and you guys see these two just walk with Lady Agatha over to the tables. And then you see Captain Balazar finally show up. And the captain staggers through the hall. And he waves a hand and he says, hey, Erlon, the team. And he says, how are all you doing this morning? And he takes a seat, and so I'm going to go ahead and move these guys out because they went with Lady Agatha for a while. He takes a seat, and he looks at you, Erlon, and says, did you tell him yet?
No. I figured I would let you do the honor.
And he says, well, it's with the heavy heart that I have to tell both of you, Deadeyes, Theron, as much fun as it's been. I'm going to be taking place next to Beatrice at the kitchens there. I'm going to be one of the new cooks. So I think the days of me traveling about getting myself possibly killed are over.
Have you given up trying to get off of the island?
Says, not entirely given up. I'm just starting to accept the fact that I'm not really cut out for such things. And he says, I'd rather stay here where it's safe, but when you guys figure out a way off this cursed place, please let me know.
Deadeyes nods and says, well, I can't really blame you, Captain. It's been nice having you help us out. But I understand. It's not the life for you, not the life you chose.
And he says, I just want to get back on the sea. And he says, I can't do that if I'm dead. And he says, please, guys, be careful out there. This is a strange, cursed land. And
Hey, real quick, what's the date?
it is June 17th, well, what we would call June, and it's the 17th, which is what we would call a Tuesday, year 157.
Thank you.
So, to give it some perspective here, on 6/10, exactly 1 week ago, is when we woke up on the shores of the Forsaken Island. So it's been exactly 1 week
7/10?
today. Huh?
You mean 7/10?
No, 6/10.
Oh, so it's 6/17.
Yeah, 6/17. Yep.
Okay.
So 1 week today, it's been, that we've arrived to the Forsaken Isles.
Dang. Theron's, he's not too happy today. So when Captain Balazar said that,
Yeah.
he's just going to give us kind of a snide remark, and he's say, "Gonna give up already."
And he says, no, Theron, I think of it more like quitting while I'm ahead. Or at least while I have one. And he kind of holds his neck a little bit, massages it.
And he just says, "Very well," and kind of mutters to himself, spineless oath. But, yeah.
And this is why he has no friends.
Yeah. Seriously, my charisma is this low.
Captain said, he says, what was that you just said, Theron?
And he says, no need to concern yourself with it, since you are no longer traveling with us.
Says, did you just try to insult me?
And Theron says, "And if I did?"
Says, if you did, then I suggest you consider wisely of taking it back.
Gosh. Theron says, "Perhaps a duel is in order." And he says, "I will not take back what I said. For anyone who will give up so easily after one fight is nothing in my book but a coward."
And he stands up, and he's pretty outraged. He says, a coward? I be no coward. And he says, in one fight, he says, who do you think you are? And he says, I put my life on the line every time. But that last time, we were lucky to be alive, and you would be wise to think on that, Theron. And he says, now, Erlon, of course, this is getting pretty heated, and people are staring. And you look over, and you even see Lady Agatha and Jade and Andres, like they stopped what they're doing over in the line there, and they're just staring. And people are starting to hush down and quiet down, and they're just staring at the outburst. And Captain's actually, you can read him, like he's pissed off.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're, Theron running his mouth like he is. Also, remember your one of your personality traits, Erlon. I don't know if you want to try to do anything, but I'll leave it up to you whether you want to get involved or not. Do you say anything?
Yeah. No, I was going to. I was just waiting for a pause anyway.
Okay.
Says, whoa, hey, calm down, guys. He's like, we all have our choices to make. And apparently Theron chooses to be an ass today.
Is that what he says?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what Erlon says.
So let's calm down. Let's not make a big deal out of this.
Well, all right. Theron says, how can you be so calm when your best friend has died and have someone just turn away from our group after something so horrible just happened? We should be more driven than ever to get off this island together. And he says, whatever. And he's going to take his plate of food and he's going to leave.
And Erlon says to the captain, we all grieve differently, Captain. Don't be too hard on him.
I'm wanting to see. Roll a persuasion. Wow.
Oh my gosh.
You really do know how to diffuse a situation. Holy crap.
Jeez.
Wow, and here I thought the captain was going to continue that. Yeah, I mean, you say those words, and he's about to say something, and you even see his hand go down to his rapier. And he's pissed, right? You've never seen the captain this angry. And in fact, Deadeyes, you haven't seen the captain this angry since someone went into his cabin and stole a bottle of rum from his cabin. And that's how mad he is. And he's about to say something, but then he looks at you, Erlon, right dead in the face, and then he looks back at Erlon, and he hangs his head. He says, I suppose you're right, Erlon. We all grieve in our own ways. And that boy, and he just shakes his head, and he takes his hand off of the hilt of his rapier, and he says, I suppose it's best I distance myself from that one for a while.
Probably a good idea.
Yeah. And he grabs his food and he walks away as well. Towards over here.
Well, look at that.
Well done, Erlon.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, dude, well freaking done.
I don't want to see.
Yeah, you imagine living with those two after that?
Good stuff.
Well, since Theron did his angsty teenager thing and said, whatever, and walked off.
Heck yeah.
Erlon is here. I'm going to take the advantage. So, Erlon, I think, Ghoul had become someone I would call a friend. Both of you had, and I honestly haven't met anyone I would call that since I spent my time on the island and became whatever the hell it is I am. Lost whoever I was. But it's losing ghouls, I imagine, horribly difficult for you, but it was tough on me too. And after last night, I've decided that we have to do everything we can to get off of this island as soon as we can. And I've had enough of this playing around, pretending to be part of this society here, I guess they call it, or whatever. Pretending to be hunters and helping these guys out and everything. I mean, obviously we'll do what we have to do, but I'm tired of all this. I think we need to step it up and focus on getting out of here as quickly as we can. I think that's what Ghoul would want, and I think that's the best thing. So, along those lines, Erlon, I had some interesting dreams, I guess you could call them, last night, but I was able to get into my head a bit and shift some of my powers around, and now have the ability to control Zizix and perceive through him anywhere on this world we're in. And so I have a proposal, if you're interested.
He says, yeah, please go on. You and I are of the same mind on this. I am even more driven to get off this island. And I will do whatever it takes.
All right. Well, yeah. No kidding. So, I propose that I will go into a sort of meditative trance in our room, and I would just ask that someone bring me a plate of food in the evening. I'm going to spend the rest of the time perceiving through Zizix, and I'm going to chart out all of these islands from the air and try and get a better complete map and see if there's any obvious places we need to be going. And while I'm doing that, I think it might be worthwhile for you to finish, or not finish, I suppose. There's so many books, but continue studying and see if we can figure out a way to get out of this place, or at least have a direction to go that will give us a much better chance rather than staying here.
Yeah, he says, I think that's a good idea. He says, I too have put together a few things. I created a new barrier that I just tested out this morning that will protect us overnight if we have to, on trips. A barrier that is impenetrable by someone who is not within it when it's cast.
So we wouldn't have to stay here any longer.
Not if we didn't want to. Though having a good, well-cooked meal and things are nice while we're trying to figure this out and get out of here.
Yeah, we could load up, though.
Take excursions to leave, and yeah, we could stay away as long as we wanted to if we needed to.
Nice.
Says, but the books and everything that we have here, we need to get as much information from them as possible before we do leave.
I agree. And you seem to be having much more luck in them than I have. Seems like the older tomes have a lot more pertinent and relevant information than the newer ones. Just seem to be housekeeping for the most part. And a couple of failures, I suppose. We heard about that wizard.
And he says, I was going to take a look at that journal before I go to the other books.
Indeed.
See what I can get from that.
That's a good idea. We should read through that journal. See what it says.
Okay. You want to read through the journal right now? Do you have it with you, Erlon?
I don't have it. I wouldn't. Yeah. It's probably.
Is it back in the quarters, or is it in your pack or something? Or?
I'm assuming it's in the room. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Now, Theron, you left the whole meeting hall, right? Like, where did you go? The latrine?
Probably back to the room to finish his meal.
You need a key, though.
I have a key.
He has a key.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
You're the other one with the key.
Yep.
Okay.
So I can do all the tantrums I want, damn it.
Yes,
I'll
you
have
can.
a place to go.
You don't understand me, and you slam the door.
Good stuff. Right on.
You don't understand what it's like to be a monk. Okay, so you guys come to that agreement and stuff, and Erlon, hearing from Deadeye is saying that he now has the capacity to, that there's some sort of magical link between Zizix and him, and finding out that there's now this unlimited link, like distance is no barrier to that link. That's pretty huge news, right? So, so what do you want to do next? That later on in the evening, there's probably going to be the training. Do you guys want to watch the training with Jade and Andres?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So there's going to be a crowd of people probably gathered to watch, just like they did with you guys.
I think right after we finish eating, we should go read that journal, and then Deadeye is just going to start right away.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. That's a good idea.
I'm good with that.
Okay, so you guys lose sight of the captain, Lady Agatha, Jade, Andres. Basically, Jade and Andres, after they finish their meal, they go up with Lady Agatha. Well, Lady Agatha went up to the registry. They went up to the registry as well, and they start doing the paperwork and all that good stuff, which you guys already know about. Now, Deadeyes and Erlon, you both get back to the room, and you open up the door. You put your lock in, and you see Theron in there. What are you doing, Theron, when they walk in?
Well, if they're done eating, he would have probably been done eating too. He'll probably just be laying on his bed, mulling things over.
You walk in and you're like, Theron, you know that you'll go blind. Just kidding. Okay, so you guys walk in. Yeah, so Theron, you're laying on the bed, just I guess resting.
Yeah, not just mulling things over. He's awake.
Okay. You're sitting there Indian style, just
Oh, yeah.
in this little
Meditating.
meditation
Yeah,
pose.
actually, yeah, he probably would be.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
going to be meditating.
You probably want to escape to this inner place, right, where you've learned that there's intense focus.
Yep.
So yeah, you guys walk in, and there's Theron sitting there on his bed, and he's just sitting there with his eyes closed, and he's just completely, like, he doesn't care to recognize you guys. Like, he's in some other place. So you guys walk in, and yeah, you pull out of your pack, whoever was carrying it. I guess, yeah.
I have it written down, so I think I was.
Yeah, it wouldn't be me. I don't carry a lot.
Okay, so Deadeyes, you pull out the book.
Yeah.
Okay, and you guys read it together. Now, also remember, there's all those gems and stuff. So, what do you guys plan on doing with those?
Yep.
You're just gonna keep them?
Well, there's one. What is there? 5?
Yes, I believe there was 5 gems, and they were all 25 gold piece, I think, in value.
Nope, they were 50.
50. I have them all written down.
Oh, they're all 50?
I
Yeah.
have them written down too.
Yep.
Yep.
I copied and pasted exactly what you posted in the.
Yeah, you're right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, that was a good takeaway.
Yeah, they're in my backpack, right?
I don't care who's carrying them.
Yeah, Carnelian, Zircon, Bloodstone, Moonstone, Onyx.
Yep, I have them all down here. I copy and paste.
Okay.
I think we either sell them or keep them, but we use them for the shipwreck fund. The new one.
Yeah. Shipwreck the sequel.
Yes.
Better than the first. Okay, so you guys open up this book that you found inside that pack where there was the jug and that ring that you found. Who has the ring?
I think.
Not me.
What's that?
Yeah, Erlon was the last one that was looking at that one.
Yeah. I was gonna say I think I had it.
So are you wearing it, or is it in your backpack?
I'd be wearing it. You want to
Okay.
keep a hand on the magical item like that.
Now the weight of that ring is half a pound.
Okay.
So when you put that in a sheet, make sure you put the weight half a pound, which for you is a big deal.
Yes, it is.
And it's really awkward and clumsy. In fact, you're not even sure that you would maybe even want to go into combat and like shoot a bow or anything with it on, because I mean, this little tiny piece of metal, man, you lift it up and it weighs like half of a pound. You even test and experiment with some other heavy objects and stuff. Yeah, it feels like it weighs a pound. And having a half pound just on your finger, it's really, really uncomfortable. Like, you don't like it at all. So, just throwing that out there. You might want to consider just throwing it in your pack or something. It is a situational ring as well.
Yeah, I think it's something I'd probably turn into a necklace, though, and wear around my neck instead of just something loose in my pack.
Sure.
You know.
Okay.
So, I think that's what I'll do with it.
All right, so you guys open up this book, and it looks like you thumb through it quickly. Most of it is blank, except for the first probably 25% of it actually has some words written on it. Looks like it was probably from the beginning start of it, someone got a new journal. So I will go ahead and read the entries. And I guess just try to pay attention. Okay, so it's dated 5/12/147. And it says, got a new journal. I'll try to write more about the research I'm doing. At least these people at Shadow's Hold put a high priority on recording history. I should follow their example. We're waiting for the blood moon to finish its cycle before we head back out. We agreed to relax for a week from hunting. This will give me some good studying time. Next entry, 5/14/147. I really miss home. I bet my estate is all in shambles. I need to get back. What I wouldn't give for a decent hot meal. Stewed pork, potatoes, star turnip, and some good starport ale. No doubt things are a mess by now. Ah, well. I need to figure out a way to cure the shadow plague. That's the first step. No doubt I'll win some awards back home if I do. Next entry. 5/16/147. 3 months now, and Oelia's prayers still have not been answered. It seems somehow our wonderful Lady of Magic cannot hear our pleas. I fear Oelia has entered into a deep state of depression. She simply isn't herself. She is changed. Gone are her jokes and her kindness. Instead, she is quick to anger, even over things that have no consequence. She snapped at me today after I simply asked how well she slept the night before. I think it'd be best if I kept my distance from her. Next entry, 5/18/147. I think I made a breakthrough today. This land is very strange indeed. This shadow has such a hold and effect on this land that from what my alchemical studies show, the shadow has actually become infused with the actual biology of life. Dispelling magic has no effect on ridding life forms of the shadow. No, this is something more natural, but at the same time, I cringe to think that this shadow infection was somehow created outside of the realm of magic. For something like this to be possible, it would have to come directly from the shadow realm, or, as some of my studied colleagues call it, the Demiplane of Shadow. Did this happen by chance by this plane rubbing up against the shadow realm? Or, if I dare think it, was this deliberate? Next entry, 5/20/147. Today was pretty much uneventful. Just a few of the usual spiders, but they were easily dispatched. Fairlawn said that a big storm is coming, due to hit within a couple of hours. We didn't see the oncoming storm because of the very large trees in which we were investigating. We were not going to be able to make it back to Shadow's Hold before the storm hits. However, there is a cave that we found on the way out here that we'll try to make it to take shelter from the storm. I'll further study these bark samples once I get back to the comforts of my room. And that's the last entry.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why that was the
off the
last
island.
entry. Yeah. So, who's going to hang on to this journal?
So that was 20 years ago, is that right?
10. Little over 10 years ago.
You want to hang on to it, Deadeyes?
Sure, I can hold it.
Erlon says maybe there's something to this alchemy, this jug, and the ideas that this guy had.
Okay.
He says, have you ever dabbled in alchemy at all, Deadeyes?
Only in ales and rum.
He said, would you be interested in trying, or should I?
What did you have in mind?
Figuring out, well, I mean, first we'd have to find somebody that could teach us a little bit about alchemy or figure some way, but maybe there's something to curing this through natural means instead of magical.
Well, I do know a little bit about shadow and places beyond this world, and if what this journal says is to believe, it might be beyond any normal means of actually curing this place. It seems like the best idea would be to remove ourselves from the area and then try to cure us. It might be nearly impossible to actually clean this whole area if it's really the demi-plane of shadow, like leaking into this plane.
I would agree, but there may be something around here that we could use that could heal it if we were able to, through alchemy, create a potion to heal us. He says, and then when we find the cure, we could leave and then use the potions to heal ourselves again of the shadow plague.
Could very well be. I think I'll leave that to you. You seem to be more astute with those types of magical means. Seems to be better along your lines of study than mine.
All right.
I'll send Zizix out and I'll start mapping these islands so we have an idea of where we might want to go.
Okay, Mike, can you see in your journal up there, can you see I think under handouts, you should have access to the journal. Should be Braylon's journal.
Yeah. Yep.
You got it? Okay. So I recommend reading that through again, maybe offline after this session, and study it a bit more and see if you can glean anything else off of it. Now, you don't know that it was a guy named Braylon. You don't know whose journal this was, so just keep that in mind.
Well, since I'm going to be...
Actually, I will say it might be worthwhile, since you're going to be doing some study in the library, to look up the records from around 147.
That was my plan.
See if they mention Oella or however.
You want to give me access to that as well, Barry, since I'm probably going to be doing the bulk of the study on this. I just don't want to carry it. I got to limit how much weight I carry.
Yep.
I'm such a weakling.
All right, do you see it now?
Yes, I do.
Excellent. Okay, so next thing that you guys want to do is what?
Well, I was going to head over to the library, so I was going to grab the 2 bags of that cotton and go sell them real quick.
Yep. Excuse me. And then Deadeyes, you're going back to the room where... Or no, you were already at the room.
We're in the room.
Yeah, I forgot.
I'm going to sit on my bed and summon Zizix and have him go out.
Okay. And you're going to have like a piece of parchment there. Now, I'm assuming that since you're not proficient with cartography tools or even cartography in general, that, your map isn't going to be anywhere close to scale, but you're more of just trying to abstractly draw the layout of the islands and maybe mark any notable features or landmarks that you see. Okay. So...
Is there even a cartography skill?
Yeah, there's a tool proficiency, cartographer tools. Yeah. Which I don't think anyone has any cartographer tools.
Not in this party.
Not in this party. Casey or CJ has a character in the other party that has cartographer tools, and he's been making maps and stuff.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, I don't think anyone has those tools.
Cool. That's cool. They have that stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it is. And it's cool that he picked it too, because it's actually proving to be quite valuable.
Yep. Heck yeah.
Okay, so yeah, so you're back in your room and you're starting. So, well, yeah, I guess you summon Zizix and you have him just fly out. Yeah, fly out of Shadow's Hold. Although, give me a strength check. Let's see if Zizix can actually get that trap door open up top.
He may have to wait.
Or Deadeyes, you might have to go and open it for him and maybe summon, or, not summon, but let him out. Not like it really matters, but just for future reference, let's see if Zizix is strong enough to open up the door.
Do you know Imp Strength? I don't have it written in my notes for Zizix.
Sure. I'll look it up real quick. Oh my gosh. I think you better go open it for him. He has a strength of 6.
Oh my gosh.
So that's maximum 30 pounds of pressure. Like, I'm going to set the DC high if you want. Go ahead and try. Go ahead and roll a
Crit it. Crit the door.
I guess it'd be an athletics, maybe strength, just a flat out strength. Yeah. So Zizix is going to be unable, like ever, to open and close this heavy wooden cellar-like door that is serving as like a barrier between the surface and down to the depths of Shadow's Hold.
That would seem pretty obvious that it would need to go.
Well, I mean, if you rolled a 20, then Zizix could just manage to squeeze on out, and stuff. No chance. Like, he's Yeah. Master, I can't get out.
Yeah.
Help me, Master. Yeah,
Or I could
so
just be like, hey, Erlon, while you're on your way out, just open the door. Let Zizix out.
All right, I can do that.
yeah, so Erlon, you let Zizix out.
Yep.
And then you go to the textiles where Ellen is, and you want to sell the bags of fiberweed.
Yes.
Okay. So just to move this along, she welcomes you, and you're like, Arlon, you're back, and she's super excited that you brought back 2 small bagfuls of this fiberweed, and she gives you 2 gold, as promised, 2 gold each.
All right.
Both of the gold coins emblazoned with the insignia of Shadow's Hold.
We now have 2 gold pieces in our shipwreck fund.
4.
Yeah, 4, because the yellow moss, the yellow.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yep.
250 worth of gems.
Well, yeah. Yep. So.
I'm curious to see how much gold. How much gold did Ghoul even have on him?
Phew.
I erased it already. It was like 20 something.
Oh, okay.
Nothing like huge yet, but we were slowly building it.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer because he had 11 gold on him and 4 plat.
Man, all that treasure that we could have split between us. Just gone. Wasted.
Yeah, I know.
How did he only have 11 gold?
Spent it.
I mean, I still have more than that. A lot more.
I think he spent it on stuff. I don't remember. Extra rope and other stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, we still have his attempted armor in the room.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, there's just one plated piece from a spider that was polished up really nicely by Ghoul that he was going to hand to Ahena once he had 10 of them. But yeah, could just be a memorial piece, I guess. I don't know.
There you go.
Maybe Andros wants some more armor.
I hate to do this, but I need to go to the armory as well. Actually, the weaponry area.
That's fine. That is okay. Okay, so Deadeyes, you start your Zizix gets out, and you start your having Zizix fly up in there in Raven form, right?
Yep.
And invisible. So
Yep.
Zizix the imp changes as a Raven, and you have him start to chart. We'll come back to you in a second as you start to fly. Actually, let me ask you real quick. So when we go back to this little mock diagram, as you fly Zizix up, you can tell that, Shadow's Hold is probably about somewhere like right there, where I'm pinging.
Right.
Where do you want to start mapping? Do you want to start going around the southwest edge and then going up, or you just want to start maybe going on the eastern edge of the small island here? Or do you want to jump directly across to the big island and do that one first?
Just heading over to the big end, just trying to initially getting the outline of everything. And then I'm looking for, unless anything really jumped out at me, but after getting an outline of how big the islands are, getting a sense of where major landmarks might be, or, obviously if you see any, ghostly looking castle ruins, or I don't know.
Yeah, any sort of landmark thing that might stand out, sure.
Yep. Okay,
so you're going to head off towards this direction then?
Yeah.
First?
Yep.
Okay, that'll give me an idea, because that will have an impact on possibly what you discover. Of course, now the problem that I have to figure out is how long it will take for you to do this. It's probably going to take you quite a while. As you start doing this, you realize that this larger island over here is quite massive, very big. Yeah, the island that we're on is just a small little section of island that is right next to this larger piece. I'll maybe have to do some more research by myself to figure out exactly how long it'll take you, but let's just... It'll take Deadeye's quite some time, so we'll have to explore that in pieces and segments and see what you uncover. So let's...
Yeah, I wasn't expecting it all to like be out there today.
Right, yeah. Okay, so back to Shadow's Hold. So Erlon, you go up to the weaponry, and as you walk down the hallway, you see Ahina, and she says, Erlon, I am so sorry to hear about Ghoul. And she says, how are you doing? She comes up, she stops what she's doing. She's working on a suit of studded leather armor, it looks like.
Yeah.
And she comes up and, gives you a hug and stuff. And she's just looking into your eyes, and she says, how are you doing?
Well, I don't know. That's what he says, actually.
She says, I was going to come by and see you last night, but I figured you'd probably just want some time alone.
Yeah.
Which, of course, you were super crazy busy last night. So.
Said, well, I was a little busy, which kind of helped keep my mind off it. And then I put down a few mugs of ale. Or beer.
And she just puts an arm around you, and she's just trying to console you. And she says, well, if you need anything from me, just let me know.
I say, all right, thank you. And then that's all I'm good.
Yeah, that's fine. She goes back to work.
And I'm going to go over to the weaponsmith, and I'm going to pull out a crossbow bolt.
Okay.
And I say, I was wondering if you could help me out.
Yeah, Gowan, the weaponsmith. He comes over and says, oh, what can I do for you, Erlen? And he says, an arrow? And what is it you ask him?
I asked if he could help me out. And I said, so he says an arrow. And I say, well, bear with me. I have an idea. I was wondering if you could make me an arrow out of metal.
That's an odd request. I can't imagine such an arrow would shoot very good. Says, why a metal arrow?
I have a spell in which I can heat metal, and it will burn the victim. And I was thinking of shooting a metal arrow into one of the spiders and then heating it up.
And he cringes, and he says, Erlon, remind me to never get on your bad side. And, boy. He scratches his head, says, I suppose I could make something like that. This is a good question. He says, how many do you need?
5.
I don't know, I can imagine that would be quite a bit of work.
Sure.
Because you would have to probably create a mold first.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get it out of the mold, you're going to have to apply some temperament to it. Maybe work out the imperfections. If it's going to have any chance of flying. Probably going to have to attach metal, like, quills, I guess, so that it can fly. And, quite a bit of work. I'm going to assume you're going to try to haggle back and forth and stuff. So why don't you roll me a persuasion?
All right.
See how good you do, and let's see how much he's willing to do for you. So I have a baseline in mind.
Oh! Pissed him off.
Well, not only that, but just what you're describing to him is just so far-fetched and completely insane. He gives you an insane price. He said... Boy, that would take so much work, Erlon. He says, how about 25 gold per arrow?
Oh my gosh.
Boy, do you have a decision to make. Because you could lose an arrow, in combat. They could break still. Especially after heat metal, anyways.
Yeah.
I am not going to spend that kind of money on this. There's no way.
I don't know. We got 1 gem worth 50. You can get 2 arrows. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't have a character here. I better just shut up.
No, I know. Oh.
It's pricey, but that's cool, though. Sticking something with an arrow and doing heat metal. 2d8.
He said, would you take payment in a gem?
I suppose it spins all the same, and he gives you a smile.
He says, then just make me 2.
Wait, you don't have the gems with you?
I don't have to pay them until they're done.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he says, I'll get started on it on the morrow. I have a lot of work to do today, but I guess maybe give me 2 days, a day per arrow.
All right.
Says, I do have other work I got to get done as well.
Sure.
Did we even decide, who's getting which gems, or is it just going in the group fund?
I don't know
my
who's
thoughts
carrying
were,
it.
My thoughts
I'm
were to
carrying
put them in
it.
the group fund.
Oh, we are putting it in the group fund?
Yeah, the gems were a group fund. Yeah, that's what you guys said before. Or at
Okay.
least, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so Theron, it looks like you're going to be the treasure monkey.
Fine by me, I guess.
Does anyone else have a decent strength other than...
Andres?
Yeah.
We don't want the newbies carrying it. Well, I don't. They're on.
Okay. Wow, I wasn't expecting it to cost so much, but sorry, Jared.
No, I'm the one who rolled a 1.
Yeah. 25 gold each, though. That's how much. And
right.
You're not going to know the range until you try to fire one.
Okay. I want to go now to woodworking.
Okay, so you travel to woodworking.
My rows should be done.
Yeah, so you had...
And I already paid them.
Yeah, your vial. Is that what you're talking about? Vial?
No, I had them making a rose out of wood, carving it, remember?
Oh, yeah. Sorry. I let you write that down. I didn't write it down.
I did write it down, and today was the day it would be done. I've been keeping track of it.
Okay. Excellent. So, yeah, you show up, and...
They didn't like you in that area, right?
One of the women didn't like me.
Yeah.
Thelm likes me.
Yeah, so Thelm says, Erlon, I was worried you were never going to be back after how things went last time with the ladies. And he kind of chuckles to himself.
I laugh when he says that.
Oh, wait. It
says, that rose that I had you build, it's like, do what you want with it and keep my payment.
And he says, really? Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Wow. Wasn't that meant for a henna?
Yep. He's cutting all ties with this place.
Holy crap.
Dang. Shot to the heart.
Man. You're too late.
Yeah.
You give love.
And I was meaning to keep that conversation with her short.
Yeah. She. I'm sure she just got the sense that you're, depressed and sad, so she didn't hassle you.
He says, I have another project for you.
Okay, and he cocks an eyebrow and looks at you, waits for you to speak.
And he pulls out his sham and says, can you build me another one of these?
So your sham is your flute.
Yep.
Yeah, so you want another flute.
And I can leave this with you, he says, for reference.
He says, yeah, if you were to leave that with me, I think we can duplicate such a thing. Is there anything... he says, first, is there anything we should be aware of? I'm not familiar with musical instruments. I've never made one before.
Okay.
He says, how does this work with... I imagine air moves through these holes here, but what should I pay attention to make sure it's in tune?
Okay, so I show him. I'll show
Yeah.
him what he needs to do and all that. And then I
Maybe-
ask him
yeah,
what
okay.
the cost would be. I'll play a little tune for him and kind of show him it.
Maybe do a couple minor illusions.
Yeah, I could do that.
He says, well, it's not overly complicated. He says, how about 4 gold?
All right.
Okay.
I don't feel like wheeling me down. I'll just pay him 4. It's fine.
And I'm going to roll to see the time.
Okay.
It's something new. Oh, crap. I rolled max.
Okay.
That's a long time. Shoot.
Makes sense. He's never done this before.
Says, well, I want to take my time and make sure I do it just right. And if you could make frequent visits and check on my work, I would appreciate that. It would help to avoid any lost, any work wasted and having to start anew.
Okay.
As you know, working with wood, you only get one chance. Once you chip too much of it away, you got to throw the whole piece away and start over. And he says 9 days.
Dude.
I know. I rolled a d6 plus 3, and I rolled a freaking 6.
All right. Sounds good to me.
So 9 days. So that puts it at like the 26th.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible you may never be here to collect that instrument. We'll see. Man. It's a long time. Okay. All right. Anything else you wanted to do?
Yep. I want to go to the library.
Okay. Okay. Let's go to Deadeye's now.
All right.
So how many hours are you going to read for?
Probably most of the day. 6 hours.
Oh, boy. Well, at least until training, right?
Yeah.
Training event. So you probably just want to do 6 hours, so you could do 3 books. So, yeah, so 6 silver.
Okay.
Subtract it out. 6 silver. Okay, so I'm just going to put you over here.
I'll just
In the
take
library.
off my sheet.
Yeah, just take it off your sheet.
Yeah.
And then you're just going to be reading up until the time right before the training starts. And it will be a total of 3 books. And we'll get to those maybe next time. Well, actually, no. Let's just go ahead and be done with it. Once you just roll for the first book, roll an investigation.
That was almost a 1.
Yeah.
Not much.
This would be your 6th book that you read. Nothing stands out to you. It's just more about planning of Shadow's Hold and where the different sections would be in like the kitchen and everything else. And there's some names of people in there who were instrumental in helping with the construction of it and like working with stone. And that's pretty much it. That's all that you found.
Okay.
Okay, book number 2. Okay. So this would be book 7. So with the 15 investigation, this one talks about how a group of people who were very skilled at magic went to the east, and they began to they actually would stay a couple nights out at a time. Because remember, you already read the book that talked about this spell that you just figured out, the Lehman's Tiny Hut. But they ventured forth to the east, to the much larger island. And they would be gone like 2 days at a time, and then 3 days at a time, then they'd come back, and then 4 days, and then they would like report on things. And this one of the reports, the only thing that's standing out to you really on this one is on one of the excursions that they came back and they claimed they say that they think that they saw some elves in the distance, but when they tried to approach the elves, they were nowhere to be seen. And so, like, and from the writings that you're seeing there, like, everyone was completely baffled on where they possibly could have went, because they tried to, in a way, try to surround these elves, but just like that, they were gone. And it didn't make sense to them how they could have escaped without them seeing them, move and stuff, but somehow they stealthed away.
And this is in the daytime, huh?
Yep. Yep.
All right.
Okay. And book number 3.
The third book I want to read is the one from the time of the guy with the journal.
Okay, so you go back to the year 147.
Yep.
You count back. Let's see. So book.
About May. It's like 5.
So book 9.
Okay.
Sorry, book 9, going from the most recent down. Okay, and you read that. Investigation. Very nice. Okay. This talks about some people in the spring who get shipwrecked. A group of 5 who get shipwrecked on the Forsaken Isles, just like you guys did. And they discover Shadow's Hold, and right away they start making a mark on the whole society. And, of course, they decide to become hunters. And one of them among them was named Oella, and she was a cleric of Mystra. However, she discovered that her spells would not work in this forsaken place, and her mood started to change. In fact, she started to go a little bit crazy. She became violent, and you definitely read this, and this is interesting. The people of Shadow's Hold, including Lady Agatha at the time, banished her to the surface. Despite the complaints of her fellow friends and party members that, no, you can't do this and stuff. But against their protest, she had Oella completely banished. And, of course, no doubt you draw your conclusion that, she pretty much, there's no way she survived up there without any magic and without any help whatsoever. But this caused a great tension between... Well, actually, before that happened, though, Brelin, he was a self-proclaimed alchemist from the land of Mysticka. And he kept on making claims that he is investigating to try to find a cure of the shadow plague that everyone was infected with. And, with a 21, let me divulge some stuff here. So there's 2 ways for you to come by this information. One was reading through this book, and the other was in that cave, finding his journal. You find his name was Brelin. He was an alchemist. So you guys have done it in the other order, where you found the cave and his journal in there first. So you find some sort of repeat stuff from his journal. But one of the things that is going to stand out to you a lot is he needed to find a good specimen of something infused with the shadow to run some more experiments on it and test it. And they had discovered to the north a copse of very large, thick, hardwooded trees to the north of Shadow's Hold. The only problem is it more than a day away. Like, there's no way to get there in one day and back before it gets dark. So that means staying at least one day overnight. They left, and they were going to go investigate these trees, because apparently these trees, from scouting excursions that they were doing, possibly through magic and other divinations, Brelin was convinced that these trees were somehow infused with the shadow and possibly either diseased or sick. He wasn't quite sure. because he was finding that it was a natural phenomenon with the shadow and not exactly purely magical, because he tried dispelling shadow from different things. But he wanted to get this bark because it was supposed to be heavily concentrated with this shadow essence, and he wanted to run some experiments on it to try to find more on maybe how to cure it, the shadow plague. However, the party went missing, as you're well aware. They went missing, never made it back. And the book even mentions that, yeah, people of Shadow's Hold were pretty hopeful, but when, some people tried to persuade them to not do it, it would be too dangerous to go that far away from Shadow's Hold. They didn't listen. They just went too far out. And even the Breland's journal talks about the storm coming. Sounds like maybe they did okay on the first night out. He didn't write about that, but with the storm coming, they decided to take some cover, and that's where things went horribly wrong. Maybe they were severely weakened on resources and everything. That's possible. Maybe that's how they met their demise. But but what stands out to you with that is some trees to the north that are very large and somehow infused with the shadow essence that could be experimented upon. And it's supposed to be a really hard wood.
Okay.
Which definitely piqued your interest when you read that. Maybe that's why you focused on that passage in the book. Possibly, because you're already looking for a hardwood. But then it starts making you wonder, wow, I wonder what would happen if I were to make a lute out of such wood that's infused with the shadow. And it kind of makes you wonder.
Yeah.
So, and I'm only throwing that in there because, again, you rolled a 21 investigation. So...
All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that's what you uncover on that book.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
Good stuff.
Deadies, finally to
Glad
you.
I rolled that on that book.
Yeah, that is awesome that you rolled that on that book, because if you rolled crappy, you weren't really going to glean much of anything other than what the journal already said. So that was awesome. Deadies.
Good roll.
You start mapping. Gotta think of the best way to do this. I could either go in like some sort of distance increment and have you roll just a perception in each increment to see how, like, if you notice anything, or I could just kind of do a general DC for your entire travels for like, I don't know, how long did you want to do this? You wanted to do this like all day long?
Yep.
Okay, so you're not concerned about attending the training then?
No.
Okay. So literally all day long. So let's just stop up to the point of the training though. You'll continue to do this, but how many hours would that be? It would be, from the morning until, we're looking at like maybe 6 o'clock in the evening. So, yeah, I better note how many hours you do this. That'll determine distance that you travel. Wow, yeah, you're going to be able to cover quite a bit of distance with in Raven form.
Yeah. Yeah, flying in Raven form.
Jeez. See, I need to figure out exactly how big that island is, because that's going to make a big difference with how long you do this. Okay, so we're going to say 8 hours straight, and then you're going to continue to do it again when we do next session.
Okay.
But this will put you up to 6 o'clock p.m. about, so 8 hours. Okay, let's do the first 4 hours. Roll a perception. A dead eyes perception, since you're viewing.
Oh.
Yikes.
Ouch.
Okay.
Not a good way to start for 4.
Now for the next 4 hour segment, roll a perception.
There
Oh, that's better.
Very nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, now I need to see what you. I need to determine what you see. I'm going to let the dice decide here. Either you see a structure, a creature, or some other like natural formation, like waterfall or something. So I'm just gonna roll random. So structure, creature, formation, creature. So you're flying.
Elves.
You're flying about,
Good.
and now, okay, I need to describe what you're seeing. So as you turn and go towards the big island off to the east, and you're flying, you notice as you're flying along, it's been 4 hours now that you've been flying, however long distance. The spider webs, the sea of white that you would see on the smaller part of the island and then the big island, you can see that the webbing is becoming more sparse. And definitely it seems like these islands are not fully infested with spiders like everyone initially thought.
Interesting.
It seems like these webs are actually fading away. They're not as commonplace. And you're now finally in an area of forest where there's only the occasional webbing on the tree here and there. But it's mostly just clear forest, like at home. It is thickly forested, though, like just a temperate forest. And there's these thick woods, tall trees. These trees are very massive. And below the canopy of the trees, you're seeing a lot of shadow and stuff from the sun and everything. And you think you see movement down on the forest floor of, you see some movement of something medium-sized down on the ground. At least you're guessing is medium-sized. So what do you want to do? Do you want to go inspect it, or you just want to continue on? I mean, you would have to fly down below the canopy of trees to really get too much of a further look, to try to look for it.
No, I'm not too concerned about that, just like what I can make out from above. I'm mostly looking for landmarks and to try and get an idea of.
Okay, so you think you see some sort of creature down below, but you don't really care to explore it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you don't see anything else. Unfortunately, it's just vast expanse of land. Seems like there's other creatures other than spiders on the island, so that's good. And other than undead.
Okay. That's good to know.
So, yeah, and that's your 8 hours total. Yeah, and you look at your map and you've started to squiggle down like some lines and stuff, kind of marking the boundaries of the big island. But, yeah, I need to figure out how big the islands even are.
Yeah.
So, so with that, I think that's a session.
Nope.
Next time we'll pick up, definitely probably be a little bit more combat oriented. We'll see. And looks like Deadeye's probably might want to just chart the entire islands before we go out and do anything else.
Yeah, I don't. Deadeye's doesn't see any reason to go out until we have a reason to.
A clear purpose, yeah.
Yep. And,
Okay.
maybe we'll scout out those trees that Erlon just found out next time. Or something like that. But, yeah, it's hard to say.
Well, you could go take a little break and go have dinner next time and chat with Erlon and see what he discovered in the library.
Yeah, I was going to share it with him. So
It could be an option. Or you could, I guess you could bring him his dinner like he asked.
yeah, I was going to do that. So.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do that next time then.
Okay.
Awesome.